Chapter 119. The Wolf Brigade Bandits all panicked. We are bandits. Dignity. Do you know what is the dignity of bandits? Just a few simple words, and they decided our life and death. That was just too much. For some reason, they noticed that washing Marshall Path Mountain in blood wasn't a wise choice. Chun Shengyao purposely conned them. The commoners around were still panicking. The arrival of the Wolf Brigade bandits had a huge impact on them, making them really uneasy and terrified. They wanted to find a hole to bury themselves in such that the bandits wouldn't be able to find them. But now the situation changed. Take a look. The bandits were defeated. They suddenly realized that bandits didn't seem so terrifying anymore. When they heard their screams, they actually felt a little pitiful. Oh my God! Many commoners were shocked by their own thoughts. As a commoner, they actually had such terrifying thoughts. Marshall Path Mountain is so amazing. Even the Wolf Brigade bandits were taken down. That's right, I don't dare to believe it. Marshall Path Mountain is accepting disciples. I want to join Marshall Path Mountain. They were tempted. They felt that Marshall Path Mountain had changed. Lin Fan left. He didn't care much about this matter. Bandits were not bad and gave him many rage points. Maybe this was their peak. Zhang Tianshan looked down at the bandits and said calmly, "Although I am not the Marshall Path Mountain sect leader, I am the deputy sect leader. Don't be disrespectful to me. Actually, with my age, I can be your father. However, forget it. There is no point in talking so much. Get to work. You only have 3 days. Once the time is up, I don't need to mention the outcome." The bandits raised their heads and looked at Zhang Tianshan. They didn't see it. They really didn't. The former Marshall Path Mountain sect leader was actually so petty. In the end, he even played them. 3 days? Looking at this old and broken Marshall Path Mountain, they panicked. This meant that they had to work overtime all night. Yuan Tianshu looked on silently. He saw it. Zhang Tianshan was really cunning to even think of such a method. It was obvious that he was eager to repair Marshall Path Mountain. These bandits were all vicious people. They were vicious to others and even more vicious to themselves. Especially now that Marshall Path was trashed and they only had 3 days, they would definitely crazily repair Marshall Path Mountain. With the addition of 32 free labors, they could also reduce the expenditure of the commoners' funds. It was a good plan. Yuan Tianshu no longer looked down on Zhang Tianshan. If one was bolder, Marshall Path Mountain's decline might have been done by Zhang Tianshan on purpose. But he didn't dare to think like that. If that was the case, it would be too terrifying. It was terrifying to a certain extent. Staying on Marshall Path Mountain was asking to die. His body shuddered, and a large portion of his nutrition disappeared. His lifespan was shaken by fear for a few seconds. He scattered the speculations in his mind. He couldn't think like that. Otherwise, he would really scare himself to death. The people waiting at the foot of the mountain were getting impatient. Oh my God, what was going on? Wolf Brigade's efficiency was just too slow. If you wipe out Marshall Path Mountain, can you head down so that we can collect their corpses? There was no movement at all. This was too much of a scam. They were anxious to death. They were anxious to collect the corpses. Apart from looking at Wolf Brigade's killing methods, they also wanted to see whether or not they had silver. If they had enough, they would collect the corpses of the people on Marshall Path Mountain. Some people were so anxious that they stomped their feet. If they weren't too afraid, they would have stepped up Marshall Path Mountain. At this moment, there were people who were even more anxious than them. That was the Chun family young master. Such a long time passed, so why wasn't there any news at all? What was going on? Was there something good on Marshall Path Mountain? Young master, don't be anxious. We all know how amazing Wolf Brigade is. They're definitely torturing Marshall Path Mountain people. Li Tsong said. He wasn't happy with those bandits from Wolf Brigade, but one had to say that they were really strong, at least much stronger than him. Chun Shengyao said, "How can I not be anxious? So much time has passed, and there is no news at all. Did something happen?" "No, Marshall Path Mountain doesn't have any strong people, and they are weak. The second and third leaders of Wolf Brigade are here, so how could anything happen? Don't worry, young master. Nothing will happen. Let's just wait, and there will be good news soon." Li Tsong explained. As the Chun family teacher, his status was not bad. At least in the city, it was really high. As for the Chen family, she would definitely make the young master comfortable. When Huang Boren learned that Wolf Brigade headed to Marshall Path Mountain, he was shocked. He knew that Chun Sheng Yao was petty, but he didn't expect him to be so petty. Other people might not know about the relationship between Chen family and Wolf Brigade, but his Huang family knew. However, even if they knew, it was useless. No one would believe that Chen family had something to do with bandits. Gather people to head to Marshall Path Mountain. Huang Boren said. Chun Xingyao personally headed to Marshall Path Mountain to find trouble, so he wouldn't care. However, the situation wasn't right. He actually called the bandits over. This was harming the interests of his Huang family. He just invested 5,000 silver, and he didn't even see any returns before it was gone. He definitely couldn't take it. Yes, young master, the servant replied, and immediately went to gather people. Huang Boren's cultivation wasn't high, but he had money. With money, he would have helpers. In broad daylight, bandits were roaming around Jiang City. So how could he take it? Jiang City entrance. When Huang Boren brought his helpers out of the city, Chen Shengyao appeared. Brother Huang, where are you going? Chen Shengyao walked over and smiled as he asked. He really wanted to see Huang Boren's expression. Didn't you invest 5,000 silver? I will make it all go to waste in less than 3 days. Huang Boren said, good plan, but aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? Move aside. I'm too lazy to talk to you. Chun Xingyao's face was innocent. Oi, Brother Huang, I don't know what you're talking about. Why don't I understand? Damn, you're going to cry one day, you rascal. Huang Boren didn't want to say more. As expected from a bandit aristocratic family, their methods were just so dark. He hoped that he could rush over in time. He didn't think that with Marshall Path Mountain's current ability, they could block those bandits. Chun Shengyao smiled happily. Li Tsong suggested that they head to Marshall Path Mountain to take a look at the situation. It would definitely be a blood ocean, broken corpses and arms, a tragic sight to behold. Maybe they could even see Huang Boren's pained expression. No one's money came from nowhere. 5,000 silver wasn't much to Huang Boren, but it wasn't little either. He didn't even see anything and it was gone. So how could he feel good? You little brat, let's go. Chun Shengyao said. Li Tsong was delighted. Young master's praise made him feel good, like every pore on his body had opened up. For Chun Shengyao, he really couldn't wait to see the situation at the scene. Huang Boren brought his helpers to the foot of Marshall Path Mountain, and when he saw a bunch of sneaky people hiding there, he hollered, "Who are you?" Those commoners who were hiding at the foot of the mountain, waiting for the Wolf Brigade to leave, were shocked by that voice. They thought that it was the bandits, but when they saw who it was, they heaved a sigh of relief. Young Master Huang, don't misunderstand, we are commoners. Everyone stood up, lifting their clothes to prove that they didn't bring weapons. They definitely weren't bandits. Commoners really didn't dare to offend these aristocratic families. If they didn't like you, then they would mess with you. Who could take that? Young Master Huang was not bad. His attitude towards commoners wasn't so bad. What are you all doing here? Did you see the Wolf Brigade bandits head up Marshall Path Mountain? Huang Boren asked. We saw them. They went up a long time ago and didn't come down. We were actually waiting for the bandits to end so that we could collect the corpses of the Marshall Path Mountain people. We were all kind and didn't have any other thoughts. A commoner said, who would believe you? Those words could only be used to bluff fools. How could he not know what these people were doing? It wasn't like he hadn't met them before. They were just shameless and despicable. The bandits robbed the village, and they waited behind. Once the bandits left, they would go and kill them. In some cases, they would even kill each other when there was a conflict, and in the end, everything would be pushed to the bandits. However, Huang Boren wasn't in the mood to talk to them. He had a bad feeling in his heart. After going up for a long time, they still hadn't come down. Go, let's head up. Huang Boren said, Brother Lin, you have to stay calm. You can't be wiped out by the Wolf Brigade. Stay calm, you have to stay calm. 5,000 silver wasn't a lot, but it wasn't a small amount. Don't fall. Let me see some hope of getting a return on my investment. The helpers that followed held their weapons tightly. They took in a deep breath and then exhaled. They knew that they were about to face the most terrifying bandits within 100 miles of Jiang City. They killed numerous people, raped, pillaged, and did all sorts of evil. When they faced them head-on, it would be a lie to say that they weren't afraid. However, so what if they were a little nervous? They had many people, so they could just use the human wave tactic. They didn't believe that they couldn't kill these bandits. Huang Boren was protected in the middle by the helpers, and his footsteps slowly became heavier. He panicked. However, not long later, he felt that something wasn't right. The savageness of the Wolf Brigade bandits was obvious to all. However, what was going on? Why weren't there any screams at all? That didn't make sense. Of course, he didn't hope for Marshall Path Mountain to be wiped out, but the development of the situation wasn't right. Dong! Dong! There was a knocking sound. Huang Boren frowned. What was that sound? It wasn't screams, but it was more like something was being hit. He was delighted. There was still hope. It seemed like Marshall Path Mountain was defending against the Wolf Brigade. Go, let's go. Huang Boren hollered in rage. He waved his hands and brought his men to charge up. Brother Lin, hold on. I am coming. Huang Boren charged up Marshall Path Mountain. However, the situation in front of him stunned him. The workers were frightened by Huang Boren and thought that the bandits were here again. Both sides looked at one another. To the commoners, what was young Master Huang doing? Huang Boren didn't know what to say. What was going on? Didn't they say that the Wolf Brigade bandits went up the mountain? Where did they go? Flew away? Or were they blown away by a gust of wind on the way up? Young Master Huang, why did you come? When Zhang Tianshan saw Huang Boren, it was like he saw a pile of riches waving at him. Riches had a special attraction. To Zhang Tianshan, he had no resistance at all. Lin Fan walked over. Brother Huang, you brought so many people to help? Thank you, but it is too late. It has already ended. If you came earlier, you would have been able to see the situation. Huang Boren didn't bother about Zhang Tianshan. He walked in front of Lin Fan and said in shock, Ended? Lin Fan said, It ended. There are no problems, just a small fight. Those people are too mischievous. Damn, he really knew how to act. Those were the bandits of the Wolf Brigade. He actually said that it was a small fight and that they were mischievous. If other people said that, he would have slapped them. Stop bragging. If they had the ability, then go fight the Wolf Brigade. Those people are the bandits of the Wolf Brigade. Huang Boren asked. He wanted to confirm whether or not they were talking about the same person. There is a second leader who looks weird. His features are really tight. Right? Lin Fan said. When Huang Boren heard that, it was true. Amazing, Brother Lin. You are really amazing. For some reason, I suddenly feel that this investment might be the smartest one I have made in my life. Huang Boren gave him a high evaluation. Those were the bandits of the Wolf Brigade. He thought that Marshall Path Mountain wouldn't be able to hold on, but who knew that the outcome would be like that? Joyous. It was just too joyous. The bandits of the Wolf Brigade were busy repairing Marshall Path Mountain. Death waved at them. If they didn't work hard, they would die. Second brother, do you think we'll be fine? Third brother asked. Even if they completed the mission in 3 days, the outcome wouldn't be much better. However, they had no choice. If they didn't work hard, they would die now. If they worked hard, they could live for 3 more days. Within these 3 days, there might be hope for it to happen. Second brother said, no. And third brother found it weird. Second brother, you are so sure. Do you have a plan? Second brother said, no. Let's finish this matter first. We can live for 3 more days. If we don't return in 3 days, Big Brother will know that something happened to us and will think of a way to save us. Do you think that this place can stop Big Brother? However, for some reason, Second Brother felt bitter in his heart. His cultivation was trashed, and he would be a piece of trash in the future. Cultivate again? Don't be AF asterisk king joke. He felt that he was a genius. However, it had taken him 15 years to cultivate to this level. Life. How many 15 years could there be? Especially after he started this job, his cultivation didn't increase. However, Big Brother's cultivation continued to rise, and that was for a reason. Big Brother split all the good things. What they distributed were the common things, such as gold, silver notes, and so on. Shush, work, that fellow is here. Second Brother said. He saw Lin Fan walk over. Damn, wait and see. Once Big Brother comes, you are all finished. Lin Fan pointed forwards and said, There, they are useless. They are too ugly. so they can only do manual labor. Those words were a little hurtful. Second brother heard it and was about to cry from anger. However, he had to bear with it. He was a bandit, the second brother of Wolf Brigade, who was terrified of him. How could he cry? Huang Boren's eyes opened wide. How amazing. He had never thought that someone would use the Wolf Brigade bandits as manual labor. Brother Lin, respect. Lin Fan smiled, not at all. You invested 5,000 silver in Marshall Path Mountain, which means that you have high hopes for us. We need to show some of our strength, what do you think? Our strength is okay, right? Huang Boren smiled. How is it okay? It is totally out of my expectations. Brother Lin, I have high hopes for Marshall Path Mountain's future. That's right. However, Lin Fan didn't have high hopes for himself. He wasn't sure how long he would stay in Marshall Path Mountain. Maybe his father would wave his hand and tell him to go home. He would definitely go home right away. What a waste. Father didn't let him go home. Until now, he didn't even send a letter. He didn't miss him too much. Lin Fan said, Brother Huang, since it is okay, why not continue to invest? The bigger the investment, the bigger the returns. Yuan Tianshu, who was smashing bricks, glanced. Bastard. He was bluffing such a pure teen again. Couldn't he have some morals and let him off? With his understanding of Lin Fan, he could avoid any danger. It was no longer possible for Lin Fan to scam him. He was immune to poison and didn't fear any schemes. This was what he comprehended during this period of time by Lin Fan's side. Huang Boren thought about it for a moment. Brother Lin, we can invest, but not now. We need to see some results. He wasn't a fool. How could he casually invest? He just invested 5,000 silver, and he had to invest again. That wasn't good. It was too rushed, and he had to take it slow. Okay, I won't force you to invest. Lin Fan said. It was good that someone invested. His life was really carefree. Fish and meat were provided for them every day, and they made do with it. Their days were not bad. Huang Boren asked, Brother Lin, how are you prepared to settle them? Lin Fan took a look. 3 days later, behead them. Pa-ta. Third leader's tools fell to the ground. The other bandits were really worried. Didn't you say that as long as we repair Marshall Path Mountain in 3 days, you would let us go? Second leader asked. Who said that? Lin Fan asked and looked toward Zhang Tianxian. Zhang Tianxian shook his head right away. I didn't say anything. His expression was one of someone who didn't want to admit it. He was heartless, a true man. I don't want to do it anymore. Third leader tossed his tools to the ground. His face was filled with determination. He wasn't going to do it anymore. If he wanted to kill him, then kill him. He was a bandit, and he had to be tough. Cousin kill. Lin Fan waved his hands. Third leader knelt down in a daze, picking up his tools and working hard. He shouted, Don't, I am joking. I will do it. I will do it, can I? Lin Fan said, If you don't want to do it, you will die now. If you do, you can live for 3 more days. Choose yourself. I won't bully you. Liang Yongqi, who was in the distance, pouted. Not bullying? You nearly rode on his body to bully him, and you still say you won't bully him. How cunning. He just wanted to return to Yu City. If he wasn't welcomed in the family, then so be it. It was better than staying here. He still had to work. He didn't care about him at all. Huang Boren said, Brother Lin, I don't suggest you kill them. Wolf Brigade is the biggest bandit lair within 100 miles. I heard that the leader is really strong. If you kill them, it will attract unnecessary problems. That was what he thought from his perspective. Wolf Brigade had already formed a huge power. It would be really tough to wipe them out. Moreover, Wolf Brigade had many people. If they went all out to take revenge, it wouldn't be a joke. Even if Marshall Path Mountain was several times stronger, they wouldn't be their match. Second leader listened in and felt really good. This Huang family young master was a logical person. He knew that Wolf Brigade couldn't be offended. Not bad, not bad. Continue to speak. Speak more about how strong Wolf Brigade was. Let this kid be afraid, and then let them go. As long as he released them, he would counterkill them. Just thinking about it made him excited. Huh. Zhang Tianxian smacked second leader's head and scolded. What are you laughing at? Do your work. Damn. The rage in second leader's heart was about to spit out. He really wanted to press Zhang Tianxi into the ground and beat him up. He was the second leader of Wolf Brigade, and he dared to treat him like that. Didn't Huang Boren say how terrifying Wolf Brigade was? Didn't he feel any fear in his heart? However, he had no choice. His cultivation was gone. He was also threatened by others, living under someone else's roof. It was tough, and he could only face these people with a beaten-up face. But don't forget, every dog has its day, and they will regret it. Lin Fan smiled. Brother Huang, why did you release them? If Wolf Brigade comes, then come. Why would we be afraid of them? He really wanted to ask, when had he ever been afraid? Of course, his father didn't count. He kept forcing him to marry and have kids. He was really afraid. It was good that he came out to hide. Once the situation cleared up, he would return. Huang Boren said, Brother Lin, you can't think that way. Some things have to be given. I live in Jiang City and understand Wolf Brigade. They do all sorts of evil things and fight over every little thing. If we get tangled up with them, we won't be able to get to where we are today. Second leader was furious, but when he heard those words, he felt really comfortable. Those words sounded like something a human would say. If one didn't personally witness how strong Wolf Brigade was, one wouldn't understand. Second leader said, Sect Leader Lin, let us go. I can guarantee that we won't find trouble. Ha! Zhang Tianshan smacked second leader's head in rage and scolded, Do your job. If you speak any more nonsense, I will kill you. Damn. Thank you, Brother Huang, for your good intentions, but it is okay. If Wolf Brigade finds trouble, I will wipe them out. Wouldn't that prove Marshall Path Mountain's value? Wouldn't Brother Huang be able to invest? Lin Fan said. For some reason, Huang Boren panicked. He felt like someone was looking at his wallet. This feeling was really magical. He hoped that it was an illusion. Foot of the mountain. Chun Xingyao was really anxious. Damn, what was going on? Could he give him some news? Was Marshall Path Mountain wiped out? He just wanted to see the new sect leader in that dumb guy's head. He didn't want to see anything else. Young master, don't rush. There will be an outcome soon. Li Tsong said. Ha! Chun Xingyao slapped him. Of course you won't rush. You aren't the one being beaten up. Li Tsong felt wronged. Young master, why did you treat me like that? I was beaten up too. Could it be that in your heart, I'm really that unimportant? Go up and take a look. Chun Xingyao said. Li Tsong blinked. Young master, you are serious. Go up. Thinking about it, it didn't seem like much. Let's just go. Wait. Chun Xingyao stopped him. He noticed that Huang Boren had come down from the mountain. He was delighted. Brother Huang, what is the situation on the mountain? Is there a river of blood? Is it really intense? I told you that the Wolf Brigade people are all vicious people. How many of those who face them can have a complete corpse? When I formed the Bandit Suppression Guild, I took in money to wipe out the Wolf Brigade. Unfortunately, no one understood. Look at what happened. Chun Xingyao sighed. Who could he blame? If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame the person who had no foresight. Huang Boren stared at Chun Xingyao like he was looking at a retard. What was he even saying? He didn't know the situation and just spoke nonsense here. Who didn't know that the Wolf Brigade came because of his orders? Unfortunately, they failed. He smashed his own foot with a brick. It was so painful that he cried out. Chun Xingyao said, Brother Huang, you invested 5,000 silver into Marshall Path Mountain, and now those bandits are benefiting for nothing. Hayes, if they came earlier, Brother Huang wouldn't need to spend so much money. Huang Boren was lazy to talk nonsense with him and left right away. On the other hand, Chun Xingyao was rejoicing in Huang Xiaolong's misfortune. Brother Huang, don't go. Let's continue. To him, Huang Boren didn't say a word because he felt heart-pained. Young master, I said it was done. Li Tsong smiled. However, that was weird. Since it was done, then why didn't they send the head over? Looking at young Master Huang's situation, it was obvious that he didn't face the Wolf Brigade. Otherwise, wouldn't be like this. Where did they go? Forget it. Don't think about it. Anyways, it was done. Maybe those bandits left long ago. However, to Li Tsong, those bandits didn't do things well. They couldn't even do what they said. Young Master wanted to see the head, so why didn't they just send it over? Young Master, do you want to go up and take a look? Li Tsong asked. Chun Xingyao shook his head. Hayes, no. I am such a kind person and can't bear to see such gory scenes. Go up and search whether or not there is that dumb guy's head. If you find it, bring it back to me." Li Tsong's eyes opened wide. He told him to search for the head and the corpses. That was way too King ruthless. How disgusting. He didn't want to go. However, if he didn't go, he wouldn't be able to live his life. Young master would definitely beat him up. "Okay, young master, I will go find that head right away," Li Tsong said. "Go. I will head back first." Chun Xingyao was in a good mood. He wanted to find a girl in the city to play with. Li Tsong looked at young master's back view and exhaled. He was helpless. He could only brace himself and climb up the mountain. Needless to say, it was a little sinister. After a long while, Li Tsong heard movement on the mountain and frowned. What was going on? There were still people here. He peeked at her furtively. Suddenly, he saw second brother who was moving bricks. He couldn't be wrong. Second boss's face was so unique. Just one look, and you would never forget it. What is going on? Li Tsong's body shook. Didn't they say that Marshall Path Mountain was wiped out? Who the hell was the second head? Why was he moving bricks here? Suddenly, a gaze locked onto him. Li Tsong noticed that dumb guy. With a yelp, he broke into a run. Damn! He was cheated. Marshall Path Mountain was fine. The ones that were the bandits of Wolf Brigade. Young master, don't be happy. We were cheated. When Li Tsong returned to the city, Chun Xingyao was teasing a girl. That girl was really cute. She didn't shout and didn't cry. Instead, she showed an embarrassed expression. After all, Chun Xingyao was the young master of a big family. There must be a lot of young ladies who are looking for a partner. Li Tsong hurried over and stuttered. Young master, no. Not good. Marshall Path Mountain is fine. The Wolf Brigade bandits were all captured. Chun Xingyao wanted to attack her chest, but when he heard that, his hand hung in midair. He turned his head and looked at Li Tsong. What did you say? The girl was prepared to accept young master Chen's molestation. Seeing that young master Chun didn't do anything, she was a little anxious. She moved forwards and exclaimed in shock. Young master Chun, how can you do that? Pa! Unfortunately, what welcomed her wasn't more teasing, but a slap. Her head spun, and she nearly fainted. How is that possible? Chun Xingyao's face was dark and sunken. Marshall Path Mountain captured the Wolf Brigade bandits. Impossible. Definitely impossible. Young master, I personally saw it, Li Tsong said. He couldn't forget Second Brother's face, Second Brother's crooked back when he moved bricks, as well as that melancholic gaze. Chun Xingyao's gaze became really terrifying. When he thought back to Huang Boren's gaze, he felt that it wasn't sadness, but that he treated him like an idiot. Bastard. Since he knew, he was still acting in front of him. Go, head to Wolf Brigade and tell them what happened here. Chun Xingyao instructed. Li Tsong was stunned. Young master, you really didn't treat me as a human, right? I just came back today, and you told me to head to Wolf Brigade. That was too much. Yes, young master, I will head over now. Li Tsong hurried over and left. In the alley, only Chun Xingyao and that girl were there. The girl curled up at the side and looked at Chun Xingyao in fear. You heard it. Chun Xingyao's face was dark and sunken. The girl shook her head. No, I didn't hear anything. I really didn't. Chun Xingyao laughed coldly. He slowly walked in front of the girl, grabbed her head, and smashed it against the wall. Pung, pung, pung. Blood covered her face, and he still didn't stop. The girl shouted in her heart. You said you would tease me, so why did you do that to me? Only when there was no more aura did Chun Xingyao loosen his grip. He lowered his head in thought, thinking about this matter. When he left the alley, a servant came in, picked up a sack, and placed the little girl inside. His actions were really familiar. Expert, Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan felt that sometimes one couldn't be too anxious. Who knew when someone would come to deliver things? 32 free laborers, 32 horses. This was slowly strengthening Marshall Path Mountain. Rage points, 20839. Another huge amount of rage points. Lightning Blade 4 strokes had been cultivated to reach the peak realm, and he needed to raise it to returning to true. Improve. Consumed 4,500 rage points. Mixed Energy Broken Jade Hand had been cultivated to the Mastery realm, and if he continued to raise it, it would reach returning to true. Then, the switch between the three techniques will be perfect. Improve. Consumed 3,500 rage points. Consumed 4,000 rage points. Consumed 4,500 rage points. Mixed energy broken jade hand. Reach the peak. Physique 240. Martial path grade 8. Internal strength 240. Martial path grade 8. Heart cultivation. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture grade 10. Cultivation technique. Vengeful Tiger Blade technique. Returning to true. Bug controlling technique. Basics. Unmovable King Body. Unlearnt. Lightning Blade 4 strokes. Returning to true. Mixed energy broken jade hand. Returning to true. Rage points. 4. 339. Don T think that there were a lot of rage points. They were consumed really quickly. However, his own strength had increased by a lot, and within Martial Path Grade 8, he was definitely unparalleled. P.S. Thank you. I will bury you in one move. Thank you, Alliance Leader. P.S. V Group Verification Group. 532355835. Those who subscribe can come in. Chapter 120. The commoners who worked at Martial Path Mountain returned home. However, they were eager to tell everyone about what happened today. Very quickly, the news of the Wolf Brigade bandits being caught on Martial Path Mountain spread out. At the start, some people didn't believe it. What a joke. Martial Path Mountain went against Wolf Brigade. Even if they used their lives, it wasn't enough. However, more and more people spread it. The people who went to Martial Path Mountain to work all said that. So the truth of the matter was huge. Some people didn't believe that Martial Path Mountain was so strong and headed over to take a look. In the end, he chose to believe his eyes. It was true. Martial Path Mountain was too strong. After returning to Jiang City, he became the messenger to spread the truth. He worked hard like he was the one who took down the Wolf Brigade bandits. Let me tell you that it was true. I just came back from Martial Path Mountain. Martial Path Mountain is really amazing. The Wolf Brigade bandits aren't their match. To the Jiang City commoners, this was a huge matter. The Wolf Brigade hurt them a lot. When they did business outside, they had no choice but to hand over all their wealth when they faced them. However, luckily, they only robbed and didn't kill. However, they were too arrogant. Each time they robbed, they would tell them to work hard to earn money and let them continue robbing. They were really arrogant when they said that. Very quickly, the rumors spread to Chun Xingyao's ears. His heart was filled with rage. He smashed things to release the rage in his heart. Martial Path Mountain, you made me lose so much face. Chun Xingyao gritted his teeth. He was someone who cared about face. He lost it to anyone but Huang Boren. However, now, he had lost all his face. He couldn't forget the way Huang Boren looked at him. That gaze was vicious. He killed his heart. That night, the Wolf Brigade lived a life of meat and wine every day. Everyone gathered together, eating meat and drinking wine. They hugged the girls beside them. The quality of the girls wasn't high. However, it was better than nothing. Why aren't they back yet? The leader frowned and was confused. At this time, they should have returned. The celebration was to wait for second and third brother to return. However, it was already so late. There wasn't even a single person. It was really weird. Could something have happened? The leader had a bad feeling. However, he quickly tossed this premonition to the back of his mind. Although second brother looked weird, his cultivation was decent. Martial Path Grade 7. In the vicinity of Jiang City, he was a top expert. Moreover, third brother was strong too and brought so many people. How could anything happen to Martial Path Mountain? Everyone knew about Martial Path Mountain's situation. He was really a piece of trash. He had never heard of a sect giving its disciples a monthly allowance. It was laughable. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Big brother, why are you frowning? Is there something on your mind? Tell little brother will chop off his head and use it as a dish for big brother. The fifth boss said. The fifth boss looked a little vulgar. He had a thick neck, thick limbs, thick everywhere, and a loud voice. Huh! The fourth boss angrily slapped his fifth brother's head. If you don't know how to speak, then don't speak. Your head will be used as food for Big Brother. Are you saying that Big Brother will eat human flesh? Fifth elder said awkwardly, my bad. I meant to use it as a urinal. Hayes. Fourth brother stared at him in rage. He didn't know how to speak, and his words weren't accurate. Fourth brother was a proper person and had studied in the past. It was tough for him to speak amongst this bunch of bandits who didn't. The leader said, I saw that second brother and third brother still haven't returned, so I am afraid that something will happen. Fourth brother said, Big brother, it won't happen. Second brother and third brother are really strong. It is just Marshall Path Mountain, so how could something happen? Look, from their words, one could tell how much they looked down on Marshall Path Mountain. Zhang Tianshan was really pitiful in the past. He made Marshall Path Mountain the only sect within 100 miles of Jiang City. However, bandits didn't care about it all. How sad was that? Maybe second brother and the others robbed the village and had a good time. Anyways, they will definitely come back. Fourth brother said. The leader nodded. I hope so. However, for some reason, he was really worried. This feeling was just too magical. At this moment, Li Tsong dissed in his heart. What a beast. No matter what, the teacher had some status. Young master was too vicious. He had just rushed back from Wolf Brigade, and now he wanted him to head to Wolf Brigade. Couldn't he change to someone else, or slow down a little? Not to mention anything else, his butt was hurting badly. This horse was a little fierce. It galloped like it was flying, causing his butt to jump up and down, and he didn't have a moment of peace. Marshall Path Mountain, why do you have so many problems? Being wiped out by Wolf Brigade, just let my young master be happy. Why do you have to resist? You're sick in the head. Li Tsong scolded. Very quickly, he saw the brightly lit Wolf Brigade. They were finally here. However, thinking about how he had to rush back through the night, he wanted to spit out a mouthful of blood to protest against such actions. I am Chun family teacher Li Tsong. Please open the gate. I have an urgent matter to find the leader. Li Tsong hollered. The bandit guarding the gate opened it. If there were many people, he definitely wouldn't open it just because of one sentence. However, there was just one person. If he opened it, then so be it. Would one person dare to be so arrogant? Li Tsong entered the stronghold and hurriedly got off the horse. He ran towards Loyalty Hall and shouted, Leader, I am Chun family teacher Li Tsong. I have an urgent matter to report. The leader was thinking about something, and when he heard Li Tsong's voice, his heart creaked. Damn, it can't be that something really happened, right? There was a high possibility. If not, why would Chun family teacher come to Wolf Brigade? Unless something happened. Loyalty Hall was totally silent. Everyone looked towards Li Tsong. Their gazes made Li Tsong so nervous that he wanted to die. Damn, for some reason, he felt like a naked girl was tossed into a wolf's den. Could they not look at him like that? He panicked. What happened? The leader suppressed the uneasiness in his heart and asked. Li Tsong cupped his fists and said, Leader, something happened. Second leader of Wolf Brigade headed to wash Marshall Path Mountain in blood, but they captured him. My young master ordered me to inform you to personally head out to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain. As expected, the leader's heart sank. Something really happened. He didn't see second brother and the others return in a long time and felt that things weren't right. It didn't take long to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain. Even if they robbed the village, it wouldn't take long. However, they didn't return, so it was impossible for nothing to happen. How did that happen? We all know about Marshall Path Mountain's strength. They don't have the ability to capture second brother and the others. Fourth leader stood up in shock. That was indeed the case. How strong could Marshall Path Mountain be? They all knew about Zhang Tianshan, and it wasn't an exaggeration to say that he was the weakest sect leader in history. However, Marshall Path Mountain, which had the most trash sect leader, actually captured second brother and the others. No one would believe it if they set out. Li Tsong said, Leader, Marshall Path Mountain sect leader isn't Zhang Tianshan, but someone else. He didn't understand the new sect leader's background. Anyways, he only knew that his name was Lin Fan. He was a young fellow. He didn't look special. However, it was this fellow who caused the Wolf Brigade to suffer a huge loss. Would you believe if I said it? Fourth leader was in deep thought. Someone else? Big brother, I will head to Marshall Path Mountain. Fourth leader said. The leader frowned No, we can't send them one by one. Second brother and third brother are together, and they are really strong. Even the two of them were captured, so it is useless for you to go. Tell the brothers to prepare. We will head to Marshall Path Mountain tonight. He was prepared to head out personally. This matter revealed a sense of danger. If they didn't treat it seriously, they might be in trouble. Li Tsong was delighted. This relationship was great. With the leader of the Wolf Brigade personally heading out, what could Marshall Path Mountain do? Teacher Li, thank you for informing me. The leader said. Li Tsong said, No, we are all serving young master, so we should do that. The leader waved his hands. Tell the brothers to prepare. We will head out tonight. Very quickly. Each shout was louder than the last. Pack up. Those who aren't wearing pants wear them. We will head to Jiang City Marshall Path Mountain. Mother of asterisk her, someone actually dares to offend our Wolf Brigade. He must be tired of living. I'm going to start a massacre. He was filled with a bandit aura. Extremely overbearing. This was the Wolf Brigade, a bunch of wolves gathered together. Even if it was a dragon, it would be bitten to pieces. Damn, Li Tsong was impressed by these bandits. They were really bandits. What did he see just now? A bandit hugged a girl and shouted who dared to offend them. There were even people helping to push his, but damn, what a beast. Can't you have a little shame? With so many men watching, don't you feel that your actions are a little offensive to public decency? Especially that girl. She was really unrestrained. She even shouted a few times like it was really comfortable. If this was in Jiang City, she would definitely be thrown into a pig cage. Teacher Li, while we're packing up, tell us who you like and we will let you feel good. A bandit suggested. Li Tsong was furious. Feel good your head. Even if you don't find it dirty, I do. I'm a person with principles. Of course. He still smiled. Thank you for your good intentions. There is no need. His heart was filled with sadness. When he returned, he had to tell young master that these people were all beasts to do such things. In the future, he really didn't want to come to Wolf Brigade. He was just too blind. The leader stood on the steps. On his back was a giant blade that was as long as a person. Although he didn't say anything, his expression was terrifying. Wolf Brigade started to get busy. It had been a long time since they went all out. For one Marshall Path Mountain, the leader wanted to go all out. One had to say that he overestimated Marshall Path Mountain. If other people saw this, they would definitely think that there was a need to go all out for just one Marshall Path Mountain. However, to the leader, it was really necessary. Second and third brother being captured was enough to reveal a piece of news. There were experts there. If one underestimated or underestimated them, one might suffer losses. Li Tsong looked on as the Wolf Brigade organized up. He muttered in his heart. Although it seemed chaotic, everyone knew what they had to do. Especially that bandit nature, it was just too strong. The entire Wolf Brigade was covered. Even he was suspecting, could Qin family really control the Wolf Brigade with such a strong bandit nature? All the bandits rode on their horses, and they were filled with killing intent. Li Tsong felt like he didn't fit in. Mixing in a bunch of bandits made him feel uncomfortable. Let's go. The leader waved his hands, and the bandits moved out. There were hundreds of them, and some were left behind to guard the Wolf Brigade. My butt. Li Tsong wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He had to rush, but he had no choice. He was here to do a tough job, and he could only bear with it and wait until he returned to the city before resting. The bandits rushed. The sound of horse hooves rang out. They were really fierce, and no one dared to block them. A cold glow flashed in the leader's eyes, especially the blade on his back. It added a really suppressive feeling to the dark night. The sky slowly turned bright. The Wolf Brigade bandits finally arrived near Jiang City. They rested on the spot and didn't act rashly. Leader, should we charge and right away? Li Tsong asked. He really couldn't wait. It was good for everyone to settle this matter earlier. His young master wanted to see heads. You don't know, my young master was interested in teasing that girl, but because of Marshall Path Mountain, he lost interest. Based on his estimation, that girl would be cut off from the world. The leader said, there is no rush. Li Tsong dissed in his heart. You aren't in a rush, but I am. Forget it. You are the head of the bandits, and you have the final say. Leader, I will return to the city to report to young master. I hope that leader can wipe out Marshall Path Mountains soon. Li Tsong cupped his fists. He couldn't spend too long with bandits. If others saw it and it spread out, it wouldn't be good. Moreover, the longer he spent with these bandits, the more uncomfortable he felt. Look, that bandit even dug his nose, and after that, he even used his tongue to lick it. How disgusting. His overall quality was really low, and it exceeded one's imagination. The leader nodded his head. He didn't say much, like he had entered another state. Right? Li Tsong headed towards Jiang City. He wanted to report to young master now. He hoped that young master could understand him. He didn't sleep for the entire night. His butt was about to explode. Don't give me more missions. Just let me go back and have a good sleep. Big brother, what should we do later? Fourth leader asked. Second brother and third brother were captured on Marshall Path Mountain. He was really anxious, and he wanted to charge in right now to save his brothers. However, he had to listen to Big Brother's orders and couldn't act rashly. The leader looked at the sky. It is still early. Later, tell all the brothers to rest on the spot and keep quiet. Don't walk around. Once we deal with Marshall Path Mountain, they will have a good time. Yes, fourth leader replied. He immediately ordered for all the brothers not to act alone. Wolf Brigade's discipline was not bad. However, the long-term victory caused some of the brothers to explode. Such things had happened in the past. When everyone was waiting for the merchants to pass by, some brothers actually went to the surrounding villages to find a girl to play with. That behavior wasn't good. Jiang City. Li Tsong rode back and hurried into the manor. He came outside young master's room and shouted, "Young master, I am back." Chun Xingyao's mood hadn't been good since yesterday. How was the matter going? Chun Xingyao's voice spread out from within. He had been suppressing a fire in his heart and was waiting to vent it out. Li Tsong entered and reported the situation. Young master, the leader of Wolf Brigade, personally led the brothers to wait outside of Jiang City. When the time comes, we will act right away. Still waiting? Tell him to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain now. Go, Chun Xingyao instructed. What was there to wait for? Since they were already here, then attack. Wipe out Marshall Path Mountain. Lift that bastard's head over. Li Tsong was filled with despair. Young master, you really didn't treat me as a human. Look at my eyes. There were dark circles under his eyes, and his eye bags were hanging down. Even if you didn't praise me, you had to let me go back to rest. You're draining my life force like this. What a beast. Yes, young master, I will head over now. Li Tsong hurriedly left. Chun Xingyao's face was cold. The Wolf Brigade's actions made him unhappy. They did what he told them to do, and they actually dared to wait. Once this matter ended, he had to meet them to have a good talk. Li Tsong returned to the leader and told him about young master's orders. What he didn't expect was that the leader only replied with 2 words. There's no rush. Damn, Li Tsong really wanted to die. It wasn't that he was in a rush, but that young master was. Couldn't he just act right away and complete the matter? He didn't stop and ran back to report the situation to young master. When Chun Xingyao learned that the leader went against his orders, his face was dark and sunken. Go. Tell him, is he going against my orders? Li Tsong looked at young master. His heart was filled with despair. What do they treat him as? A messenger pigeon or a runner? Couldn't they just say it face to face? It was so simple. Why? Is there a problem? Chun Xingyao frowned and asked. Li Tsong shook his head right away. No, I will go right away. Then Li Tsong ran back and forth. To him, this leader was sick in the head. He wasn't in a rush. Why didn't he give a reason so that he could explain to young master? Now that he gave such a perfunctory reply, how was he supposed to explain? Young master and the leader's questions made Li Tsong want to spit out blood. He wasn't angry, but running back and forth caused his breathing to rise, and he showed signs of being restless. The time has come. Finally, the reply he heard wasn't that there was no rush. Li Tsong sat on the ground and panted. He was really tired. He just wanted to sleep. Leader, I will tell young master. Li Tsong got up and quickly returned to Jiang City to report to young master. The leader wrote a letter. Fourth brother, send this letter to the new Marshall Path Mountain sect leader. Remember, don't be rash. Yes, big brother. Fourth brother replied. He didn't ask much. Big brother had his own thoughts, so he just had to send the letter over. He got on the horse and galloped towards Marshall Path Mountain. All the bandits waited solemnly. Some pulled out their blades and spat out phlegm, wiping their blades. When they fought, it would be easier to slash people. Marshall Path Mountain. Fourth brother went up and took a look. It was really old, and one couldn't tell that this sect had the ability to take down second and third brothers. Suddenly, a familiar back view, especially under the sun, it gave off a sad feeling. Too, before he even said that, the silhouette carried a few bricks and slowly walked away. The silhouette was on the verge of collapse, as if it could fall at any time. No, how could that be second brother's back view? Fourth brother shook his head and tossed that thought to the back of his head. Who are you? Suddenly, Zhou Mao noticed an uninvited guest and asked warily. Cousin was here on Marshall Path Mountain, so he had to pay attention to all strangers who came up. I'm the fourth brother of Wolf Brigade, I damn. Before he could finish his sentence, he saw the simple and honest big blockhead in front of him reach out and grab him with his 5 fingers. Damn, even bandits like us won't make a move before the other person has finished speaking. That was too violent. He focused, that claw was tough to dodge. Energy flowed around his fingers, and there was a suction force. The fourth boss staggered backwards. His cultivation was okay, Marshall Path Grade 6, and he was ranked high in Wolf Brigade. However, at this moment, he felt that things weren't right. Zhou Mao stepped forwards, and with a paw, his fingers seemed to be able to shrink the ground as he directly grabbed fourth brother's head. He used strength and pressed down with one hand. Fourth brother's head smashed into the ground, causing it to crack and form a small hole. He showed mercy and didn't use too much strength, otherwise his head would have exploded. What are you doing? Zhang Tianxian patrolled Marshall Path Mountain to see who was slacking. He saw Zhou Mao beating someone up. Why did he beat him up so early in the morning? He even pressed his head to the ground. Didn't he think about whether or not his head hurt? If he turned into a retard, would he take care of him? Nothing. Zhou Mao said. Zhang Tianxian looked at Zhou Mao. How did Lin Wani have such a dumb nephew? He was scarily dumb. When he looked at the fellow who fell to the ground, he exclaimed. He felt that this person's face was familiar like he had seen it before. He lifted his head up. He looked closely. Oh my God, wasn't that the fourth brother of Wolf Brigade? Why did he come here? That was impossible. Did he say anything just now? Zhang Tianxian asked. Zhou Mao replied. He said that he was the fourth brother of Wolf Brigade. What else? Zhang Tianxian asked. Zhou Mao thought about it. He seemed to have said one word. Me? Zhang Tianxian was confused. What did that mean? Zhou Mao nodded his head. That was the last word he said. It was me. Then I attacked. Damn, you are so dumb. Zhang Tianxian was speechless. How did Lin Wani teach his nephew? Could he wait for him to finish before attacking? The fourth brother of Wolf Brigade appeared here. That wasn't a good sign. What are you doing? Lin Fan woke up, holding a bowl of shark fin stewed with bird's nest. His conditions were average, so he just ate it. Sec leader, look at what your cousin did. He didn't even finish, and he knocked him out. How can he be so violent? Zhang Tianxian grumbled. Lin Fan took a look who? Zhang Tianxian said, fourth brother of Wolf Brigade. Lin Fan found it weird. Why did people from Wolf Brigade come here? To save their comrades? But just one person, didn't they look down on him a little too much? There is a letter. Zhang Tianxian saw a letter beside fourth brother. He picked it up and opened it. He sucked in a deep cold breath. Damn. Lin Fan took the letter and looked at it carefully, occasionally nodding his head. The content of the letter was roughly like this. I am the leader of Wolf Brigade. I heard that you captured my second and third brother, so we have to talk. If you don't want to suffer, then release them. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Sec leader, what should we do? Wolf Brigade is going all out, and we have so few people, we aren't even enough. Zhang Tianxian said. Lin Fan was really calm. What are you panicking for? Their second, third, and fourth brothers are all here, so why are you panicking? Zhang Tianxian thought about it. That made sense. They had a bargaining chip. Yuan Tianchu got close. He saw that the situation wasn't right and knew that something huge had happened. As expected, Wolf Brigade moved out. This was a huge matter. "Brother Lin, can I take a look at the letter?" Yuan Tianchu said. Lin Fan passed the letter to Yuan Tianchu and thought about what would happen next. Many people would definitely come. If he let them go just like that, even if he agreed, the heavens wouldn't. If the heavens wanted to, they would scold him. What did it have to do with him? He agreed. Yuan Tianchu frowned and read word by word. There was a problem. There was a problem with this letter. He looked at the fellow lying on the ground. Wolf Brigade was probing. This letter wasn't the final goal, but it was for this person to probe the Marshall Path Mountain situation. If Lin Fan let this person go, then Wolf Brigade wouldn't hesitate to attack. Now, Lin Fan kept this person here to threaten the Wolf Brigade. He looked at Lin Fan. As expected, who said that Lin Fan was a fool and a piece of trash? That was because they didn't see the current situation. As expected, his thoughts couldn't be guessed. He had absolute control over everything. Terrifying, this person was really terrifying. Yuan Tianchu's heart was beating really quickly. The more he interacted with Lin Fan, the more he realized how terrifying Lin Fan was. It seemed like he had to thank him for not killing him in U City. With his personality, he wouldn't have been able to block Lin Fan's schemes. Luckily, he grew quickly and was able to follow Lin Fan's thoughts. It wasn't that he was able to follow Lin Fan's thoughts, but that Lin Fan didn't know where they came from. He was sick in the head. "Sect leader, what should we do now?" Zhang Tianshan asked, although he didn't panic anymore. If he didn't solve this matter, he would feel bad. Lin Fan said, "Do what you need to do. Drag him away and continue to work." It wasn't that he didn't want to do it, but that he didn't think of a way to deal with it. He would just leave him alone and think a good idea. Yuan Tianchu muttered in his heart. He didn't panic in the face of danger. The enemy was already here, but he was still able to keep calm. If not for him being too dangerous, he really wanted to sit down and drink a few cups with him and chat. Liang Yongqi was really carefree. When he saw that Yuan Tianchu was talking to someone, he knew that this fellow was thinking about something. What nonsense was he thinking about? None of it worked. Wolf Brigade bandits. And the leader frowned. So much time had passed. So what was fourth brother doing? Why wasn't he back yet? The reason he sent the letter was to let the other party know who was coming, what their purpose was, and what they should do. It was just so simple. What the hell? Such a simple matter. But now he was nowhere to be seen. Where did he go? Big brother, fourth brother isn't back yet. Was he captured by them? Fifth leader said, "Don't speak nonsense. We bandits know the rules of the world and don't kill envoys. Marshall Path Mountain is a sect, so how can they not know?" The leader hollered in rage. Fifth leader nodded. "That's true." A long while later, the leader was a little impatient. It had already been 2 hours. Where was he? He wanted to ask where was he? Fourth sister, don't tell me you're struggling with some old woman halfway through your life. Suddenly, a person walked over from a distance. "Big brother, someone is here," Fifth leader exclaimed. That person wobbled as he walked over with much difficulty. The moment he opened his mouth, he cried, "Leader, you are finally here. Why is it you? Where are my second brother, third brother, and fourth brother?" The leader asked in rage. The bandit said, "Leader, they were all captured. This is the letter they told me to send to you." He took out the letter and passed it to the leader. The leader hurriedly took it, tore it open, and read it carefully. The rough meaning was that they were all here, and if they wanted them, they had to pay to redeem them. There were 33 of them, and he would give one to them for free. Damn, what kind of people were they? They were actually so shameless to such an extent. They even dared to extort bandits. However, the threat of this letter was really strong, and the leader was stunned. Who had such boldness to dare to talk terms with their wolf brigade? The leader asked, "What is the situation on Marshall Path Mountain?" The bandit said, "Leader, Marshall Path Mountain has a total of 6 people. The rest are our brothers." 96 people. The leader was shocked. No wonder. He looked at the brothers behind him. He only brought 100. The bandit nodded his head. He didn't hear any problems. "Big brother, head to Marshall Path Mountain to save our brothers. They deserve to die." The leader calmed down, head down first. We need to consider this matter carefully. He wasn't thinking about Marshall Path Mountain, but about Chun family. There were so many people on Marshall Path Mountain, so why didn't Chun family tell him? They even wanted him to send people over. Wasn't that like sending sheep into a tiger's mouth? Was it Chun family wanted to clean up Wolf Brigade, which was why they came up with such a plan to let them fight to the death with Marshall Path Mountain? He was the one who reaped the benefits. The more he thought about it, the more possible it seemed. The leader knew that he had done some things that made Chun family feel uneasy. The bandit was anxious. Leader, what are you thinking about? There are only 6 people on Marshall Path Mountain, and if so many of our brothers charge up, won't we wipe them all out? The leader got off the horse. He pulled out the human-tall blade on his back, stabbing it into the ground. He straightened his back and looked towards Marshall Path Mountain. There were fierce tigers there. Then he looked at Jiang City. The Chun family, that was like a drooling wolf. Both sides would suffer heavy losses, and Chun family's plan would succeed? No. As the leader, he had to think about the brothers behind him and definitely couldn't fall for their trap. At that moment, the leader was in deep thought. One wrong step, and he would fall into the abyss. A huge choice appeared in front of his eyes. If he chose wrongly, he would fall into the abyss. This matter wasn't just about him. His brothers trusted him, so he couldn't let them die. 5th brother, the leader said. 5th brother said, Big brother, what is the matter? Quickly return to the stronghold and bring 30,000 silver over. We will redeem them, the leader said. He had already decided. He wouldn't fight Marshall Path Mountain, but to ensure the safety of 2nd brother, 3rd brother, and 4th brother. 5th brother was shocked. What did Big brother mean? However, he listened to his big brother and immediately replied. He turned his head and left, rushing back quickly. With his riding skills and ability, he went all out. 6 hours was enough for him to return. P.S. Thank you, Crazy Big-Eyed Ming, Wuxia 123, King Gray Machine, Xiang Shou, Fatty Chow, Flying Bird Osaka. Thank you. P.S. To make up for yesterday, I just finished. There are guests coming over to eat, so I only started at 10. P.S. Asking for monthly votes. Everyone give me monthly votes. Let me get into the top 10 of the monthly tickets rankings. Chapter 121. Lin Fan had no choice but to let a bandit go and bring the letter back. He couldn't think of any good ideas. Lin Fan was annoyed. He had to admit that he was smart and his brain was developed, but it wasn't enough. Moreover, the Wolf Brigade bandits sent a letter to discuss terms. That was a humiliation. Other people could take it, but he couldn't. You came to discuss terms with me. I will discuss terms with you too. Who was afraid of who? Xian. Sect leader, how would Wolf Brigade agree? Zhang Tianshan said. He didn't dare to believe that this kid would actually write a letter to blackmail them, to let them take money to redeem him. That was just too overbearing. We only have 6 people here. What could we use to fight? If Wolf Brigade directly attacked, they would definitely flatten Marshall Path Mountain. Yuan Tianshu said they will give. When he said that, Yuan Tianshu was really confident. He had seen through everything. That surnamed Lin person was really amazing. Lin Fan looked at Yuan Tianshu with a weird expression. Little brother trusted him so much. He wrote that letter just for fun. How could he treat it seriously? Now, he said that they would give it. That was a little mysterious. Nonsense, what do you know? Wolf Brigade will give money. I will be the deputy sect leader for you. Zhang Tianshan didn't like young people to be arrogant. It was okay if Lin Fan was arrogant, but he was the sect leader, so what could he do? At most, he was half a grand disciple, and he dared to say such words. Young, he was still too young. Yuan Tianshu didn't retort, but he was confident in his heart. He had absolute confidence that Wolf Brigade would send the money over. There were 2 points. One was that Wolf Brigade still hadn't attacked, which meant that they were hesitating and weren't sure about Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan's calm and collected actions gave the other party immense psychological pressure. 2 was that Wolf Brigade's 3 leaders and 29 brothers were here. Wolf Brigade was probably thinking about how to save them. When they weren't confident, they would choose the middle method. However, he was a little suspicious. What method did Lin Fan use to make Wolf Brigade believe that Marshall Path Mountain was extraordinary? He really didn't see that point. Fourth, why are you here? When the second head saw number 4, he was extremely shocked. It was fine that they were captured, but wasn't number 4 with Big Brother? Why was he also captured? Fourth leader said, Marshall Path Mountain doesn't care about morals. I came to send a letter, and they actually captured me. Hung. To think that there's still a sect actually being forced like this. Second leader's anger burned. How could there be such a shameless existence? Even bandits like them knew not to capture envoys during negotiations. When they learned that their big brother had brought their brothers from the stronghold, they felt much more at ease. There would definitely be no problem with Big Brother taking action. However, the more he thought about it, the angrier he became. No morals at all. More bandits than us bandits. Rivertown, Chun family. Li Tsong felt really bitter. He was sure that young master really didn't treat him seriously. No, I'm very tired now. I just want to go back and sleep. But the young master didn't let him go down to rest. He was still spouting nonsense. I want Marshall Path Mountain to be destroyed. I want to see that blockhead's head. Wait, that's all I'm talking about. That gentle young master didn't act anymore. There was no one around, and he directly showed his cards. He was just such a violent person. Li Tsong consoled him. Young master, don't worry. The Wolf Brigade will definitely move. Marshall Path Mountain will definitely be covered in blood, killing everywhere. Very quickly, someone will send ahead to him. He said those words to calm the young master down. Also, can you be considerate and let me go to sleep? His eyelids started to fight, and he just wanted to close his eyes. Chun Shengyao said, head to Marshall Path Mountain right now, and keep an eye on that place. If there is any movement, report back right away. Li Tsong was stunned. Young master, you are amazing, so heartless. I understand, Li Tsong replied. He left the manor and rode his horse towards Marshall Path Mountain. Li Tsong was really tired. Logically speaking, Marshall Path Grade 6 could increase one's fatigue resistance. However, he was still a human. He wasn't a monster like Zhou Zhongmao, who couldn't sleep for a few days. After getting close to Marshall Path Mountain, he didn't head up right away, but he hid in a hidden place and looked on. Logically speaking, the Wolf Brigade should have already headed up. He just needed to wait for them to descend the mountain, and that was when he would act. However, when he lay down, a wave of sleepiness swept over him. He couldn't block it at all. His eyelids drooped. He was getting more and more sleepy. He would close his eyes for a while, but he definitely wouldn't sleep. Once there was movement, he would definitely wake up. With this thought in mind, Li Tsong fell asleep with a peace of mind. She fell into a deep sleep. Huang Boren walked around the room. His face was solemn, and he was really worried. What should he do? What should he do now? He had no choice. Even if he brought the guards to help, they would basically be wiped out by the Wolf Brigade. Chun Shengyao, do you need to make such a big deal? He really didn't expect Chun Shengyao to be so petty. Wasn't it just a small conflict with Marshall Path Mountain, and he sent the Wolf Brigade to wipe it out? Too vicious, he was just too vicious. To him, the 5,000 silver was probably going to be wasted. As for winning, what a joke. The leader of the Wolf Brigade personally came out, so how could they win? That was totally different from before. Before, it was just a small fight. Now it was huge. The news of the entire Wolf Brigade moving out couldn't be hidden at all. Many commoners passed by and saw the Wolf Brigade from afar. They were so terrified that they found a place to hide. They even wanted to dig a hole and bury themselves. After which, the news was brought back to the city. Everyone knew that the Wolf Brigade had moved out. The people in the city were terrified. Of course, they knew that the Wolf Brigade didn't dare to behave arrogantly in Jiang City. However, with their strength, even in the city, when they heard the words Wolf Brigade, they were so terrified that they shivered. After a long while, Chun Xingyao was a little impatient. Damn, you bunch of bastards. Did you make a move or not? It's been so long. He was so angry that he was dumbfounded. Why did it take so much effort to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain? Did the Wolf Brigade really want to rebel? Chun Shengyao was filled with killing intent. It was best to kill a dog that didn't listen. If he continued to keep it, It might become a problem and hurt him. What was Li Tsong doing? He told him to head to Marshall Path Mountain to take a look, so why wasn't he back yet? If the Wolf Brigade didn't attack, he should have reported back. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. He picked up things and smashed them on the ground. The people around him didn't listen, and that made him feel so annoyed. The servants outside didn't dare to get close. When young master was angry, "Don't go in, people would die." Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan looked into the distance. What was the situation now? Were Wolf Brigade going up or not? The waiting made him a little annoyed. Or was he really not going to care and just let these people die on their own? That was just too heartless. He walked in front of the few leaders and said, "So much time has passed, and no one has come to save you. Did he give up on you?" The fourth head was infuriated. Despicable, shameless. Rage points plus 111. A little useless. He tried his best to provide that. "My big brother definitely won't abandon us." Second leader said. He was really confident. This was his trust in Big Brother. Lin Fan said, "He won't abandon you." What about the people now? Until now, no one has come up, and you still say that he didn't abandon you? Damn, the three of them were furious. Could they stop saying such things to sow discord among them? Anyway, they wouldn't believe it. Big Brother would definitely come to save them. Sect Leader Lin, "If you let us go now, I can go back and tell Big Brother that we will forget everything and that we won't come again." Fourth leader said. He was someone who read books. He would lie. Like second and third brother, they basically said whatever they wanted and wouldn't lie. He wanted to calm them down. Maybe without Big Brother coming to save them, they would be able to leave safely. Fourth brother, why are you talking nonsense with him? Big Brother is here. So how can we be afraid of him? Second leader said. Damn. Fourth leader wanted to scold him. Second brother, can't you just shut up? If you don't know how to speak, then don't speak. Why are you as dumb as fifth brother? Of course, he definitely wouldn't say it out. He was fourth brother, and this was second brother. If he said it, he would be beaten up. Second leader hated Lin Fan a lot. Their cultivation was trashed. Even if they returned to Wolf Brigade, what position would they be in? Their brothers wouldn't be happy. Just at that moment, a Wolf Brigade bandit went up the mountain. Marshall Path Mountain Sect Leader, my leader agrees to your request. This is 30,000 silver. Please release them. That bandit stood at the entrance of Marshall Path Mountain and shouted. He didn't dare to enter. He was afraid that he would be captured by Marshall Path Mountain like the few leaders. Fifth leader wanted to come, but the leader was afraid that Marshall Path Mountain was plotting something, so he sent him over. Damn, little brother was also one of the brothers. Why didn't they care about him at all? And Lin Fan was shocked. What was going on? They really sent money over. Wolf Brigade was just too cowardly. Marshall Path Mountain only had these few people, and only 2 of them could fight. They were actually suppressed just like that. Weird. That was really weird. Yuan Tianchu smiled. As expected, it was exactly as he expected. Zhang Tianxian was stunned, and then he was delighted. They actually sent money over. Why was that? Or was it because Marshall Path Mountain was famous and the Wolf Brigade was afraid of us? If that was the case, then he shouldn't have closed Marshall Path Mountain. Today, the ones who were the most shocked weren't the 3 leaders, but the 3 leaders. Damn, what was Big Brother thinking? Wasn't it just Marshall Path Mountain? Why did they send money over? He should have waved his hand and let the brothers of Wolf Brigade trample Marshall Path Mountain and turn the entire place upside down. Now, they actually sent money over. Was this still the style of their Wolf Brigade? They were bandits. Only they snatched money from others, so there was no reason for them to give money to others. Fourth leader said softly, Second brother, third brother, don't be anxious. This might be Big Brother's stalling tactic to numb them and then take them down. His words made sense. The 2 of them nodded their heads. Out of the brothers in Wolf Brigade, only fourth brother had read a few books and was a knowledgeable person, although it didn't seem like much outside. But over at their side, fourth brother was the Grand Secretary. Lin Fan said, let me take a look. The bandit was a little nervous. For the leader to send silver to redeem someone, he definitely wasn't ordinary. Although he hadn't entered Wolf Brigade for long, he had been through dozens of missions, but he had never faced such a situation. 30,000 silver was a thick stack. Zhang Tianqian's eyes opened wide. He didn't expect to see so much money today. Marshall Path Mountain had a chance to rise up. The bandit said, "This is a letter from the leader." Another letter. The two sides weren't far from each other. Couldn't he just come over to talk? Why did he have to write a letter? How problematic. He took a look. The content was simple. A man has to keep his word. 30,000 silver, let them go. He was afraid that Lin Fan would kill them, which was why he said that a man had to keep his word. He was a little smart. However, he really didn't understand. He didn't do anything, so why was he so afraid? It was weird. The bandit looked at Lin Fan nervously. He was waiting, but he was really afraid. Should he let them go or not? If he didn't keep his word and didn't let them go after taking the money, then he would really be unlucky. Lin Fan said, "I am a man of my word. Since you have given the money, then let them go. Cousin, let them go." The bandit heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed like he had some morals. Those bandits who didn't rest on Marshall Path Mountain were so emotional that they wanted to cry. This place was too dangerous, too terrifying. He didn't treat them as humans at all. They worked day and night. They didn't even have enough to eat. Sometimes they were beaten up. Now that they could leave, they were so happy that they wanted to cry. They wanted to vent the sadness in their hearts. Fourth brother didn't say much. It seemed like Big Brother was worried about them in case they were injured in their hands. This was why he wanted to save them first, and then he would directly trample Marshall Path Mountain. What a good plan. Second brother, third brother, don't speak. Let's leave this place first. Once we leave, it will be time for us to take revenge. Fourth brother said, "And I know." The bandits who were kidnapped by Marshall Path Mountain stood together with haggard expressions. "Your leader is not bad. He took money to redeem you. I am a man of my word, so I will let you leave. However, I advise you to run quickly. Let's go." Lin Fan waved his hands and told them to leave. Their luck during this period of time was really good. Not only did they get free labor, but they also got 30,000 silver. He didn't think that money would come so easily. The bandits couldn't be angry anymore. Their willpower had been worn down. Marshall Path Mountain sect leader was a little fierce, and it wasn't good to offend him. It was best if they fled. The path down the mountain wasn't long. Fourth brother thought about it. "Big brother, come out quickly. Let's bring our brothers to kill." However, there was no movement. The area around was silent. Or was this halfway up the mountain, and Big Brother and the others were waiting below? Fourth brother, where is Big Brother? Second brother asked. Didn't you say that Big Brother just wanted to save us first? Why wasn't there even a ghost? The bandit said, "Second brother, leader is waiting for us there." Fourth brother smiled. Big Brother really cared about people. He didn't wait at the foot of the mountain, but waited for us to arrive. He dressed up and brought his brothers to charge up. Was he thinking about our reputation? He thought that we were captured and felt uncomfortable, so he wanted to wait for us to charge back together to get rid of the trauma in his heart. As expected from Big Brother, he would follow him for the rest of his life. In the next life, he would follow him. There were horses at the foot of the mountain. The bandits brought them over to welcome the leaders and brothers. Marshall Path Mountain. Yuan Tianchu looked at Lin Fan. He knew that things weren't so simple. With his understanding of Lin Fan, these bandits wouldn't leave so easily. Zhang Tianxian said, "Sect leader, we are rich." They were really rich. 30,000 silver. What investment did they need? Just this money was enough to develop Marshall Path Mountain. Recruit disciples. Eat well and drink well. Their days of enjoyment were finally here. However, he noticed that Yuan Tianchu's gaze towards him was a little off. What did he want to do? Didn't he say that if he really sent money, he would be the deputy sect leader for him? Kiki. He even believed the joke. He was still too young. Lin Fan stood on the spot and didn't move. He calculated in his heart. The bandits should have reached the foot of the mountain and left Marshall Path Mountain. He was a very particular person, and he was also a very trustworthy person. Since they used money to redeem him, then naturally he had to let him go. Now that he was out of Marshall Path Mountain, the agreement was completed. Lin Fan said, "Cousin, a bunch of bandits came to the foot of the mountain and did all sorts of evil things. I can't take it anymore." And cousin is right. Zhou Zhou said. He said so much. Why didn't he understand? He blamed himself for being dumb to say such deep words to his cousin. Cousin kill, Lin Fan said. Okay. His words were really simple. Zhou Zhou knew what cousin was thinking. Wasn't it just killing? There was no need to say so much. Zhang Tianqian's mouth was agape. Damn. He just released him, and when he reached the foot of the mountain, he sent his cousin to kill him. His face changed too quickly. Yuan Tianchu understood. He guessed it right once more. As expected, he was going to attack. But from this, one could see that surnamed Lin was a person who paid attention. He let him go, and once he exited Marshall Path Mountain, then he would acknowledge him. At that time, he didn't need to care about him. Liang Yongqi didn't think so much. He just felt that way. How despicable and cunning. He said that he would let him go, but now he sent his cousin to kill him. That was just too despicable. Zhou Zhoumao's speed was very fast. He directly rushed down the mountain, wanting to kill those bandits. The bandits who left Marshall Path Mountain hugged the necks of their horses. They had no strength at all. Tired. It was great to be able to return to freedom. Once they recovered, they had to head to the surrounding villages to find some girls. Suddenly, they heard the low rumble of thunder behind them. Everyone turned their heads and looked. They saw a person jump into the air and then land on the ground, forming a huge hole. He then jumped up again. It was really shocking. Every time he bounced, he would cover a distance of 100 meters. Damn, what was going on? What was that? Fourth brother's expression was really solemn. After taking a look, his expression changed. Go, split up, and gather with the main group. He didn't expect that Marshall Path Mountain wouldn't keep their word. After letting them go, they sent people to kill them. Damn, some bandits exclaimed, pulling the necks of their horses and shouting. Ride, ride, run faster, run faster. Heavens, why didn't the sects have any morals at all? They had already agreed, so why didn't they keep their word? Too much. That was really too much. Some bandits turned their heads and saw a terrifying scene. That fellow appeared beside their comrade, waving his arms and slapping. His comrade and his horse exploded into pieces, blood splattering in the air. Terrifying. It was really terrifying. Was he even human? Zhou Zhongmao was only Martial Path Grade 9, but he was really strong in terms of brute strength. Before he even started cultivating, he was much stronger than normal people. Lin Wani saw that he had such potential. The current Zhou Zhongmao could casually throw out a palm strike that contained an extremely terrifying power. Pung, pung. The explosion continued. Even if they split up, Zhou Zhongmao could still get to their side. He stretched out his arm and slapped. Thick internal strength formed a terrifying power that exploded out. The air was about to explode from the pressure. Second brother, third brother, quick. Fourth brother shouted. This person was really strong, and he wasn't someone they could block. He really didn't expect that Marshall Path Mountain wouldn't keep their promise. Damn. At this moment, Zhou Zhongmao was like a human-shaped tank. Facing these bandits, he didn't need to use any techniques. He just used the most explosive strength to smash them into pieces. That explosion scene was like that of hell. Don't run. My cousin said that he wants all of you to die. Don't let me complete my mission and disappoint him. Zhou Zhongmao hollered. The vengeful energy on his body became thicker and thicker, and he became faster and faster. He moved. A horse galloped past him. He stretched out his hand, grabbed the horse's tail, and exerted force. The horse ran too quickly, and its inertia was too strong. It was directly ripped in half. The bandit on the horse opened his mouth. Time seemed to have stopped. The bandit didn't know what was going on. Punk. Zhou Zhongmao's palm was really thick. He pressed down on the bandit's head and smashed it to the ground, causing it to explode. What kind of demon is this? The bandits who had escaped were crying. They were already crying from fear. This fellow was even crueler than them. It made one feel despair, and there was no way to fight back at all. Fourth brother looked on as more and more people died. He was really anxious. Big brother, save us. Second and third brother were terrified. They only knew to run forwards, and they didn't dare to think about anything else. Wolf Brigade gathering ground. The leader looked into the distance and frowned in deep thought. Why wasn't he back yet? Did he keep his promise? Suddenly, his brothers appeared in his line of sight. A smile appeared on his face. It seemed like they were back. However, shortly after, the situation changed. He saw a mysterious person appear in front of his brother. With a slap, that brother was gone, right? He didn't see it wrongly. He was gone just like that. Big brother, save me. Fourth brother shouted. Damn, the leader reacted. He got on the horse and charged into the distance. He was furious. What was going on? He went back on his words. Out of the 30 bandits, only a few were killed by Zhou Zhongmao. Only second brother, third brother, and fourth brother were still alive. Zhou Zhongmao looked towards fourth brother, who shouted the loudest and chased right away. He raised his hand and was about to slap him. As long as he hit, fourth brother would definitely split into pieces. Fourth brother felt death cover him. He turned his head and his face turned ashen white. No, stop. The leader was furious. He stepped on the horse and jumped into the air. He pulled out a blade and slashed toward Zhou Zhongmao. Zhou Zhongmao was solemn. He didn't continue to kill fourth brother, but he slapped towards the leader. He used his body to block the blade. However, Zhou Zhongmao's palm gave off a glow. It looked like the mixed energy broken jade hand, but it wasn't. There was a difference between the two. Pung. They clashed. Their auras clashed. Both of their internal strength was really thick. The ground cracked. Expert. Zhou Zhongmao was shocked. He didn't expect the leader of Wolf Brigade to be so strong and be able to fight him head-on. The leader's hand that held the blade trembled. So strong. The person in front of him was really strong. He wasn't confident that he could take him down. Your Martial Path Mountain is so untrustworthy. I have already given the money, so why do you still want to kill my men? The leader asked. Zhou Zhongmao said, my cousin doesn't like bandits. The reason was just so simple. After clashing with Zhou Zhongmao, the leader felt more and more like Chun family was conning his wolf brigade. With such an expert here, if he didn't personally head out, he would basically be asking for trouble. However, Chun family didn't tell them about such a situation. As expected, they hoped to see Wolf Brigade and Martial Path Mountain both suffer heavy losses. Very good. Since they were heartless, then don't blame me for being unjust. Big brother. Fourth leader turned his head and shouted. He was pulled back from the brink of death. Until now, he still hadn't come back to his senses. The leader said, bring the brothers and leave. I will block here. Big brother, go. There was no point for them to stay here. They would drag him down for nothing. Fourth leader was unwilling, but he understood what big brother meant. He also knew that if they stayed here, not only would they not be able to help, but they would drag him down. Second brother, third brother, let's go. Fourth leader hollered. Zhou Zhongmao didn't say any nonsense and attacked right away. Cousin said to kill, so he had to kill. The two of them were experts. Maybe Lin Fan didn't expect the leader of Wolf Brigade to be an expert. At the start, the two of them were on par. But gradually, Zhou Zhongmao was suppressing the great leader. The two of them were educated differently. The leader might have been untrained, but Zhou Zhongmao was different. Lin Wani personally taught him, and there was a huge difference between the two of them. The leader was waiting for a chance. Once the brothers retreated, he would find a chance to leave. They continued to fight. He felt that there was a high chance that he would fall to his hands. Martial Path Mountain. Lin Fan waited. Cousin went out for a period of time, so why wasn't he back yet? He forgot to tell Cousin not to chase a cornered enemy. If the bandits fled, then don't chase. In the dense forest, the leader fled quickly, and he cursed in his heart. Damn, are you still King human? Just fight enough. Was there a need to chase so closely? After he noticed that the brothers had retreated, he retreated too. He thought that he would give up after chasing for a while. Who knew that this fellow would be so vicious, and he wouldn't stop until he caught him. He chased relentlessly, giving him a huge headache. Damn! The leader gritted his teeth and looked at the blade in his hand. "Love blade, I am sorry." He then tossed it behind. Shio! The blade broke through the air. Zhou Zhongmao flipped and grabbed the blade. It was heavy and it slowed down. The leader took the chance to flee. He ran. Zhou Zhongmao stood on the spot and shook his head. He returned from where he came from. It was a waste that he didn't kill this person. How was he going to tell his cousin? He was going to disappoint him. How annoying. Zhou Mao's thoughts were really simple. He would do whatever cousin said. He just had to complete the mission that he gave him. If he didn't, he would be really sad. Chun Xingyao was about to go crazy. Where were they? Where did they all go? What was going on with Wolf Brigade? Did they wipe out Marshall Path Mountain? Li Tsong, you dog, where did you die to? He was really angry now. He felt like the rage that he had accumulated for so many years had exploded out today. In the courtyard, there were already servants who were killed. Many of them were so frightened that they didn't dare to breathe, afraid that they would attract young master's attention. Beneath Marshall Path Mountain, Li Tsong woke up. He slept really well, and there was even saliva hanging at the corner of his mouth. This sleep replenished his life force, and he felt like he was alive. He was curious. Why was there no movement? The sky was about to turn dark. Did Wolf Brigade settle the matter or not? Their efficiency was too low. Young Master was definitely anxious to death. Forget it. He should personally head up the mountain to take a look. Just at that moment, he saw a person. He immediately hit on the spot and didn't move. Wasn't that the silly guy from Marshall Path Mountain? Why was he still alive? Was it? When he thought about that, Li Tsong's expression wasn't right. Wolf Brigade failed, and they didn't wipe out Marshall Path Mountain. Or did they not fight with Marshall Path Mountain at all? Damn, what was the reason? If he knew that this was the case, he wouldn't have slept. He actually didn't understand the situation. How was he going to explain when he returned? He wouldn't tell young Master that he was too tired, so he fell asleep there. He didn't know what happened next. If he really said that, then he would just sleep. There was no need to wake up. Li Tsong thought about it. Thinking about Wolf Brigade's attitude towards young Master, he thought about a possibility. Wolf Brigade definitely didn't attack. Right? He would say that when he returned. Jiang City, Chun family. Young Master, I am back. Li Tsong shouted. Instantly, an expensive flower vase flew out from the room. Where did you die to? Why did you only return now? Chun Xingyao scolded in rage. That dog, he really was a dog. Li Tsong said, Young Master, it isn't that I didn't want to return, but Wolf Brigade didn't attack at all. Only when they left did I leave. They were lying to you. A pained expression appeared on his face. It was to show how sad he felt for young Master that they didn't do anything for him. They dare. Chun Xingyao didn't believe it. Did Wolf Brigade really want to rebel? They even dared to not listen to my orders. Li Tsong said, Young Master, they really dared. I personally saw that dumb guy jump back from the foot of the mountain. Nothing happened at all. Everything he said was true. He personally saw it, so he was definitely right. Scram. Chun Xingyao's eyes turned red as he scolded. He lost all his face. The commoners might not know, but Huang Boren definitely did. Wolf Brigade came, but nothing happened. In the future when they met, would there be less mockery? Young Master, calm down, I will scram now. Li Tsong cried out. He was really agile and quickly scrammed. If he stayed now, he would be a fool. Didn't he see how angry young Master was? Even if he was the Chun family teacher, it was useless. Marshall Path Mountain. Zhou Mao returned with the leader's weapon. Cousin, we didn't kill them all. A few of them ran, and we only snatched this weapon. His tone was low, and he felt a little bad. Lin Fan's expression was a little weird as he patted his cousin's shoulder. Very good. Cousin didn't say anything. It was really good. Looking at the time, he went out for such a long time, so he probably chased for a long time. However, he was a little careless. In the future, he couldn't let cousin take risks. He should have told cousin not to chase a cornered enemy and not to run too far. If he faced a tough one and something happened to cousin, he regretted it. Zhou Mao said, Cousin, I failed. Lin Fan said, You didn't fail, you succeeded. Cousin is happy. P.S. One page has 8,000 words. It isn't that the subscription is expensive. I will continue to write, roughly 12 points per chapter. Chapter 122. Since his cousin was back, they would break up. Lin Fan was a little hungry and told Gozi to prepare some good food. He missed Yu City and his father. Yuan Tianshu chased up to Zhang Tianshan. Does what you said before count? What? What did I say? Zhang Tianshan asked curiously. He showed an expression like he didn't understand what Kid was saying. Could he be clearer about it? Yuan Tianshu said, you said that if Wolf Brigade would send money over, you would pass the deputy sect leader position to me. You said that, right? Good lad. His heart was not in the right place. You actually want to snatch the deputy sect master from me? Zhang Tianshan was confused. Is that so? I didn't say that. Why do young people like to bully the middle-aged and old? Do they think I'm old and have a bad memory? Or do they really think I'm so casual? You think you can bully just anyone? Then he patted Yuan Tianshu's shoulder. Young man, don't bite off more than you can chew. Work hard, and you'll get what you deserve in the future. F***CK. Yuan Tianshu wanted to beat Zhang Tianshan up. How shameless. He had clearly said those words, but he actually turned his back on them. Very good. Yuan Tianshu didn't want to say more and left directly. He could see that Zhang Tianshan was the same as that surnamed Lin, scheming. Even if he said it to their faces, they wouldn't admit it. Whoever believed it was a fool. Zhang Tianshan looked at Yuan Tianshu's back view and smiled. Young people thought too much and should be down to earth. Did I say that? Definitely not. Now that Marshall Path Mountain had 30,000 silver, their future was limitless. Even Wolf Brigade ran and didn't dare to invade. This future, just thinking about it makes me feel terrible. The Huang family. No way, so strong, so fierce. After Huang Boren learned that Wolf Brigade retreated, he was stunned. Can you believe it? In any case, he did not dare to believe it. It was like a huge army attacking Jiang City. Jiang City was obviously very weak and basically had no hope. However, at this moment, the huge army ran away. If there was no story behind this, he would not believe it. How narrow-minded was Chun Shengyao? That was really small. It was definitely impossible for him to let Wolf Brigade leave. Therefore, this revealed a piece of information. Marshall Path Mountain was different. F***CK. Huang Boren regretted a lot. Lin Fan had asked him to invest a second time, but he hadn't. Now that he thought about it, it was too late for regrets. He had let go of such an opportunity. If he was given another chance, he would invest without hesitation. He really wanted to see Chun Xingyao's expression, perhaps even uglier than eating shit. It was so comfortable that his hands were itching to write. The study was filled with his masterpieces. With his status, many people would fight over these masterpieces. If it wasn't for the Huang family status, these masterpieces would have been used to clean up the mess. Wolf Brigade, Loyalty Hall. When the leader returned, all the brothers heaved a sigh of relief. But when they thought of how some of their brothers had died, they felt heartache and even more fear. It was too terrifying. That person was like a devil. The great leader was someone who cared about his face. He didn't say that he couldn't beat him, nor did he say too much nonsense. To put it bluntly, we were tricked by the Chun family. Big brother, I can't take this lying down. Second brother was sad. His cultivation was crippled, and he would be a cripple in the future. He didn't have the face to stay in this position anymore. Third head said, that's right, we're going to kill our way back. Kill our way back. Kill our way back. Many of the brothers shouted. They were all holding back their anger. The big head looked at his brothers with a solemn expression. He had heard everyone's thoughts. However, he just wanted to say something. Can't you guys just calm down for a bit? However, he couldn't say that. Fourth head said, silence, let the leader speak. Everyone looked towards the leader with burning eyes. Everyone was prepared. As long as he gave the order, they would grind their blades and charge back. The leader said, brothers, we failed this time, but it wasn't because Marshall Path Mountain was strong, but because Chun family wanted us to be wiped out. Uproar. Everyone looked towards the leader in shock. What did he mean? Why did Chun family want them to be wiped out? They knew that the Wolf Brigade was closely related to the Chun family. Or rather, the person controlling the Wolf Brigade behind the scenes was the Chun family. But gradually, after a person like the leader appeared, the relationship between the Wolf Brigade and the Chun family changed subtly. Fourth head said, big brother, you're saying that Chun family wants to harm us. The leader said, right, We don't understand Marshall Path Mountain's situation. Chun family rushed us to act. If we knew that Marshall Path Mountain had such an expert, would we have been so careless? Second brother, third brother, and so many brothers, nothing would have happened. I really want to kill that bastard from Chun family. The leader was furious. All of this started because of Chun family. If they didn't give them accurate intel, such a thing wouldn't have happened. Fourth head said, "Big brother, since that is the case, then what should we do in the future? Chun family wants to deal with our wolf brigade, so the place we are will be really dangerous." Fifth head said, "What are we afraid of? If he has balls, then he will come. After so many years, who knows how many of the things we snatched have been given to Chun family. Now that he wants to burn the bridge, at most we will fight him to the death." Fifth brother, "Drink your wine." Fourth head said. He looked towards his big brother and said, "Big brother, I think we should bring our brothers and leave this place. Chun family has deep roots in Jiang City and is really strong. If Chun family wants to wipe out the bandits and gather their troops, we won't be enough." Fifth head said, "Then, are we just going to let second brother, third brother, and those brothers off?" Anyway, he was unhappy. Second brother and third brother's cultivation was trashed, and if he didn't take revenge, he wouldn't feel comfortable. Second head said, "Fifth brother, listen to fourth brother. He is educated and knows logic. We can't push Wolf Brigade into the abyss because of us." Big brother, "I agree with fourth brother. Let's move away. As long as we are still here, we will have a chance to take revenge." The leader said, "Brothers, what do you think?" Everyone looked at one another and then said, "We will listen to big brother." "Okay, then we will move away and strengthen our strength. When we have a chance, we will take revenge. Marshall Path Mountain will be wiped out, and so will Chun family." The leader said. In his heart, he was also thinking about moving. They couldn't stay here for long. However, if they left just like that, it would hurt second and third brothers' hearts. Now that Chun family wanted to wipe out Wolf Brigade, with their strength, they couldn't fight Chun family. They could only let all their brothers die for nothing. That night, Wolf Brigade was very quiet. A person crawled out from the dog hole of Wolf Brigade. He disappeared into the darkness. July 21st. Morning. Early in the morning, Marshall Path Mountain welcomed the first batch of people. The commoners who worked at Marshall Path Mountain returned. What a joke. What happened yesterday had already spread. Marshall Path Mountain showed shocking strength. They returned to repair Marshall Path Mountain. Zhang Tianxin's complexion was great, and he felt great. He immediately told those commoners to repair Marshall Path Mountain. He was eager to see how prosperous Marshall Path Mountain would be after it opened. Suddenly, he saw a rich man. "Young Master Huang, what wind blew you over?" Zhang Tianxian immediately walked up and greeted. This was a rich family. Although Marshall Path Mountain didn't lack funds, there was no harm in making the rich feel comfortable. Huang Boren said, "Deputy Sect Leader Zhang, I came to find Sect Leader Lin. He just wanted to earn money. Now that Marshall Path Mountain's future was really bright, he wanted to invest more. Nowadays, some of the powerful sects all had the shadow of aristocratic families. It didn't mean that those sects were created by aristocratic families. But when those sects were first formed, those aristocratic families gave them financial support. They slowly got stronger and formed huge sections. Those aristocratic families' gains came. Marshall Path Mountain allowed him to see such a possibility. So, he wanted to continue to invest in it to build a foundation for his descendants. "Please, please enter." Zhang Tianxian was really warm. However, the deputy word didn't sound nice. If only he could remove the word vice from the title. That would be perfect. However, it was okay. If he continued to work hard, maybe one day, he would be able to remove the deputy word. Zhang Tianxian brought Huang Born in. The current Marshall Path Mountain had some areas that were repaired to perfection. He pushed the door open and entered. Lin Fan and the others sat there to eat breakfast. However, looking closely, everyone's status was obvious. Lin Fan was the highest. Look at what they were eating. Bird's nest stewed with milk. There were also red dates and a few ginseng roots. Zhou Mao also ate all of that, big bowls. In Lin Fan's words, cousin was still developing and needed to replenish himself. Originally, Gozi could eat all of that too. But Gozi didn't want to and wasn't willing to eat. He just wanted to be young master's servant. Now outside, Gozi cooked all 3 meals a day. Don't underestimate Gozi. Although he didn't cook in the Lin family, he really had culinary skills. As for Liang Yongqi and Yuan Tianchu, they were pitiful. Youtiao, sesame seed cake, soy milk porridge. The two of them bit on the youtiao and stared right at Lin Fan. Not fair. Not fair at all. Why did the two of them have to eat this? Could they consider their status? They were rich young masters in Yu City. You bunch of beasts, why didn't you tell me? I was supervising outside, and you all just ate and drank. That's too much. Zhang Tianxian hollered. Too practical. These people didn't think about him at all. Wah, bird's nest, so good. Let me have some. Just as Zhang Tianxian was about to make a bowl, Zhou Zhomao smacked his hand away. My cousin is eating that. You go eat that. Hey, you kid, you. Zhang Tianxian wanted to lecture him, but when he saw Zhou Zhongmao's fierce expression, he was terrified. He was strong, so he just ate the porridge. Zhou Zhongmao stared at Zhang Tianxian and then said, Cousin, eat more. You can't lose weight. Lin Fan said calmly, In. He looked at Huang Boren and smiled. Brother Huang, why did you come to Marshall Path Mountain so early in the morning? Come, let's eat together. Huang Boren said, Sect Leader Lin is too polite. I came to talk to you. Eat first. After you finish, we can talk. Liang Yongqi whispered to Yuan Tianchu, I have had enough. This is not fair at all. Yuan Tianchu drank the porridge and laughed coldly. The unfairness is yet to come. With your ability, you shouldn't be with us. Liang Yongqi found those words a little ear-piercing. What did he mean? He said that I couldn't make it? Very quickly, Lin Fan placed down the bowl. Cousin, I am full. You can drink the rest. And I know. Zhou Zhomao picked up the half-filled bowl of bird's nest and gulped it down. He had consumed too much and needed replenishment to maintain his strength at its peak. Liang Yongqi and the others felt heart-pained when they saw those scenes. Pig. He could eat so much. He didn't even know how to share some with them. Outside, Lin Fan and Huang Boren walked around. After a while, Brother Huang, just say what you want. Lin Fan said. He knew why Huang Boren came. He just wanted to brag and then say that he would continue to invest in Marshall Path Mountain. Of course, he was really casual. Just invest. He didn't mind the money. Huang Boren said, Brother Lin, I want to continue investing in Marshall Path Mountain. Marshall Path Mountain allowed him to see the future. In the future, when Marshall Path Mountain became strong, then the entire Huang family would rise. Let's talk about now. If he sent the Huang family's wealth to those sects and said that he wanted to invest, he wouldn't even have a chance to enter and would be chased out. He would even be scolded. Dumb. Those sects couldn't be underestimated. After they became strong, they would be really strong. In front of those sects, Huang family wasn't worth mentioning at all. Lin Fan said, Sure, no problem. Huang Boren said, Brother Lin, really? Of course, how can I fake it? Lin Fan smiled. He just wanted to have a good life as a rich family. It was not bad now, eating and drinking every day, looking at the scenery, looking at the sky. His life was really carefree. Huang Boren laughed. Good, this is great. This time my Huang family will give Marshall Path Mountain 20,000 silver. This was already a huge sum. This was also because Huang Boren had high hopes for Marshall Path Mountain's development. Brother Lin, don't worry. Huang family will continue to invest. Huang Boren said. Lin Fan smiled. Okay, but Brother Huang, please remember that investments are risky, and in the end, it might all be for nothing. Huang Boren said. Understood. Huang Boren was curious about what happened yesterday and wanted to know what happened. Why did the Wolf Brigade bandits leave? These things weren't a secret. When Huang Boren learned that Lin Fan extorted 30,000 silver from Wolf Brigade, he was so shocked that he was numb. Amazing. Really amazing. Chen family. Chen Xingyao was in a bad mood, and his face was dark and sunken. Marshall Path Mountain still existed, and to him, that was something he was really unhappy about. However, he had no choice. Wolf Brigade went against his orders, and that made him really annoyed. What could he do? At this moment, Old Master Chun learned about the situation with Wolf Brigade. Old Master Chun didn't find Chen Shangyao. Anyways, it was enough that he knew that Wolf Brigade wanted to betray Chen family. They deserved to be killed. They couldn't be allowed to live. Wolf Brigade was formed by the last family head. At that time, it was used to rob and strengthen Chun family's wealth. After all, Chun family was born as a bandit, and naturally, they knew what the fastest way to amass money was. At that time, it was easy to control. No one dared to go against Chun family's orders, and they listened to them like dogs. Or rather, they were the dogs that Chun family raised. However, this leader Rin didn't listen to him. If he wanted to set up his own sect, then he had to see whether or not he had the ability. If he didn't plant a spy in Wolf Brigade, he wouldn't know so much. July 22nd, that night, Old Master Chen personally led a large group of people out of the city and disappeared into the night sky. Wolf Brigade. Tonight was really busy, but it was filled with sadness. Loyalty Hall. The leader raised his cup and looked at everyone. Brothers, after tonight, we will leave this place. We have lived for so long and are used to this place. Let's toast. From today onwards, our Wolf Brigade will be free and won't be anyone's tool. Cheers. How heroic. All the bandits raised their cups. After drinking, they raised their heads and looked at the leader, waiting for him to continue. The leader said, "You all know the rules of Wolf Brigade. Being together means that we are brothers, and we help one another. However, if anyone is tired of such days, then say it. As the leader, I promised each brother that if you want to back out, I will give you a sum of money to let you live your own lives. I won't stop you, and no one dares to stop you as you deserve it. Now, does anyone want to back out?" A short silence. Everyone shouted loudly, "No, we will follow the leader to the end. Right, if anyone backs out, I will look down on him." The leader looked around and said, "Okay, brothers, let's drink this bowl of wine." Within the room, the fragrance of wine spread all around. Everyone drank it in one gulp. There's one more thing. We snatched many girls, but tonight is the night that Wolf Brigade disbands. It is also the night that a new Wolf Brigade is formed. In the past, we said that we won't force anyone to stay. If any girl wants to leave, just give them enough silver and they can leave. Here, I thank those girls for letting my brothers not be lonely at night. At that moment, someone shouted, "First Master, my little brat is already 3 years old. That little girl is already dead set on me. How can she leave me? If she leaves, where can she find someone like me who suits her?" Ha ha! The bandits laughed out loud. "You are so shameless. I wanted to leave you long ago, okay?" "Nonsense, how is that possible?" The leader raised his hand. "Okay, since that is the case, then bring them all. We won't abandon our brothers and won't abandon their girls. As long as they are from Wolf Brigade, then we will bring them all." Suddenly, there were noises outside. "There's an enemy attack." The bandit guarding outside roared out these words, then fell to the ground, dead. "Damn, brothers, get your weapons and face the enemy." Fifth leader hollered in rage. Outside Wolf Brigade, many torches lit up. Old Master Chen looked coldly at Wolf Brigade. He really didn't want to personally destroy this place. However, he had no choice. If someone betrayed him, then he had to die. Old Master Chen might be old, but his methods were really vicious. "Kill." Old Master Chen waved his hand. A large number of people charged in with blades. Not long later, screams spread out. Even the kids weren't let off. How did this happen? Why can't I even pick up my blade? I have no strength at all. The Wolf Brigade bandits noticed a terrifying thing, which was that they had no strength at all. Very quickly, the battle within calmed down. The great leader and the others were surrounded, and all of them had injuries on their bodies. "Qinzhong, I saw that you were loyal, so I made you the leader. Is this how you repay me?" Old Master Chen rode his horse and walked over slowly. He looked coldly at the leader. The leader's eyes turned red, and he said in rage, "Chun Daoyun, you poisoned us." He had already noticed. Also, he himself was the same. He was poisoned and had no strength at all. Old Master Chen said coldly, "Didn't you say that we are brothers? How does it feel to be poisoned by your own brother?" After which, a small bandit walked out and stood beside old Master Chin. Fifth leader raged, "You bastard!" to that small bandit. He didn't care if he scolded him. Anyway, he was sent in by old Master Chun to monitor Wolf Brigade. Old Master Chin said, "Remember, I can support you, so I can kill you. Everything you have is given to you by me. Betraying Chun family will only lead to death." Kill. Just at that moment, a few small bandits charged out. In their hands were the goods that they robbed last time. Those were explosives. They tied them to their bodies and shouted, "Leader, run. We'll open a path for you. Remember to take revenge for us." Those small bandits hollered in rage, charging towards the guards surrounding them and lighting them up. Punk! It exploded. Blood and flesh scattered all over the ground. Many guards died, and the scene was really tragic. Old Master Chun was protected at the back. "Scoff, run." Old Master Chun looked at the few of them who couldn't even walk properly. He waved his hands, "Chase." The leader didn't expect things to turn out like this. He wasn't afraid to fight Chin family head-on, as he didn't fear anything. However, he didn't expect that his own brother would harm him. Poison. How despicable. Even if they were bandits, they wouldn't bother to poison people. With their current situation, they couldn't run at all. "Qin Zhong, why are you still running? Stop running. Since you thought about betraying me, your fate was decided." "Hayes, I can't bear to. After raising a dog for so many years, I do have some feelings for it." Old Master Chin sighed, although he said that the meaning was clear, which was to kill. They were stuck at the edge of the cliff. Below was a sky-covering wave. They couldn't see anything at night, but just by listening to the sound, one could tell how ferocious the waves were. Fourth leader was injured and shouted, "Big brother, we won't drag you down. Jump down, and you have a chance to live. If you survive, take revenge for us. We will stop them for you." Fifth leader said, "Big brother, this is the end of our brotherhood. In the next life, we will still be bandits with you. We will still be brothers with you. Do you still want us?" "Ha." Fourth leader said, "Fifth brother, after so many years, this is the best thing you said. We will still be bandits with Big Brother in next life." "Yes, yes, forever." Leader hollered. Second head and third head also smiled. The four of them looked at one another and nodded. They raised the blades in their hands and charged towards old Master Chun. "Big brother, jump." The leader's eyes turned red. "Brothers, wait for me. After taking revenge, I will continue to lead you all to be bandits." He jumped and was swallowed by the darkness. "Poochie, Poochie." The four of them drank the poison wine. In front of these guards, they were unable to fight back at all. All of them were sliced to death. But even if they died, they still hugged onto those guards, blocking the path to buy time for their big brother. A guard came to the edge of the cliff and looked down. The sound of the waves was really huge and terrifying. "Old Master, if we jump from here, we definitely won't survive." The guard turned his head and said. Old Master Chin got off the horse and came to the edge of the cliff. He looked down, and after confirming that there was no problem, he waved his hands. "Gather all the corpses of the Wolf Brigade bandits. When they were alive, they had to bring benefits to Chun family. Even after death, it was the same. Weren't the Jiang City commoners afraid of Wolf Brigade? Then, he would let them see what Chin family did. The cliff was slanted and the slope was really huge. The leader didn't die and hung on the vines. They did that in the past to leave a trump card for themselves. If they faced a disaster, they could hide. Who knew that? To date, he was the only one who used it. His strength slowly weakened. The leader opened his eyes wide, biting his tongue. He had already bitten it, but he definitely couldn't let go. There was only one voice in his heart. Live. He had to live. He wanted to take revenge. 23rd of July. Morning. All the commoners of Jiang City were shocked. The Chin family manager stood there and shouted, "Come and take a look. These are the corpses of the Wolf Brigade bandits. My old master knows that you were harassed by bandits, so he brought people to uproot them. It wasn't for anything else, but for everyone in Jiang City to live in a happy and safe place. Tell me, isn't this a good job?" The commoners rubbed their eyes in disbelief. Oh my God, did they see it wrongly? The wolf brigade that was deeply rooted out for a long time was wiped out, just like that. This was a huge piece of news. It made every commoner in Jiang City pumped up. The Chen family manager shouted, "What do you think?" Damn, these bunch of retarded commoners were all stunned. He asked them if they were okay. Could they reply? Okay, that's great. Long live Chun family. Chun family is amazing, getting rid of evil for the people. The Chun family manager was satisfied. That was more like it. At that moment, Old Master Chun walked over with the support of the people. He coughed, his face was ashen white, and he stuttered when he spoke. Guys, this is what Chun family should do. As long as Chun family is in Jiang City, we won't let anyone harm the people of Jiang City. The Chun family manager said, "What are you all standing there for? Why aren't you clapping? My old master personally led the troops to wipe out the bandits and got a cold. Look, my old master is so old, and he could have handed these things to others. But he said that for the safety of the Jiang City people, he had to do it personally. Touched. I'm really touched. I woo. The Chun family manager's eyes turned red, and tears flowed down just like that. Not far away, Li Tsong's mouth was agape. Damn, he saw the gap between them. That fellow really knew how to talk. No wonder he could become a manager, and he could only be a teacher. That was the gap. However, one really had to say, Old Master was really vicious. He knew about the relationship between Wolf Brigade and Chun family. Because they didn't listen, he wiped them out that night. He was really amazing. At the same time, he taught him a lesson. He had to listen to young Master. Even if it was tough and tiring, he had to do it. If not, he might end up like Wolf Brigade, wiped out. Just thinking about it was terrifying. The commoners were infected by the emotional words of the Chun family manager. There were really people who cried out, "Wah, he is the same age as my grandfather. My grandfather is lying on the bed, but old Master Chun can still wipe out Wolf Brigade for us. I'm so touched." That's right. Although Chun family young master is annoying, there are still good people in the Chun family. In the future, we should understand that young Master Chun is still young and hasn't grown up. It is okay for him to be a little bad. No matter what, this matter caused huge waves in Jiang City. When Huang Boren learned about it, he was astonished. How generous. Chun family actually wiped out Wolf Brigade. Why was that? A small half of Chun family's wealth came from Wolf Brigade. Wasn't wiping them out the same as destroying an arm? Or rather, because Wolf Brigade didn't wipe out Marshall Path Mountain, they angered Old Master Chun. However, that was impossible. Chun family wasn't so stupid. He didn't understand. He really didn't understand. When Chun Xingyao learned that his father wiped out Wolf Brigade, he was delighted. He laughed out loud in the room. He was thinking to himself that Wolf Brigade made them not listen to his instructions, so they ended up in such a tragic state. Even if they regretted it, it was too late. As for facing Huang Boren, he wouldn't lose face. One could even say that he could casually wipe out a dog that didn't listen to him. Such overbearing words. Outside the city, Lin Fan came down from Marshall Path Mountain and was prepared to walk around Jiang City. When he saw so many corpses outside, he was also a little confused. Damn, Wolf Brigade was wiped out. That was way too King fast. He also saw Old Master Chun. His first impression was that this old man wasn't a good person. He could tell from his face. He should be a cunning person. At this moment, Old Master Chun saw Lin Fan. He walked towards him with the support of people. Sect Leader Lin, this is the first time we have met. I have long heard of you. Old Master Chun said. Lin Fan smiled. Old Master Chun, I have long heard of you. Old Master Chun said, congratulations from Marshall Path Mountain to reopen. In the future, we will be able to provide more jobs for the people of Jiang City. Damn, those words sound a little weird. Or did he treat him as Zhang Tianxian and gave his disciple a salary? Dream on. After which, the two of them just casually said some nonsense. They didn't talk about anything important. He just felt that this old man was a little cunning. He looked like a bad person. Before Old Master Chun left, he patted Lin Fan's shoulder, even 3 times. What did that mean? He came to my room in the middle of the night to be gay? Scram. Scum old man. He even reached out to such an outstanding guy like him. Why didn't he look at what he looked like? Cousin, this person isn't a good person. Lin Fan said. Zhou Zhongmao nodded his head. Cousin, I can see it. Lin Fan nodded his head. Cousin was smart, not bad. Let's go. Let's head into the city to shop. However, when they entered the city, he still looked at those bandits. There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. Huang Boren told him that Wolf Brigade and Chun family had a close relationship. Chun family supported them, and they were also a tool for them to earn money. But now, Chun family wiped out Wolf Brigade. What kind of sinister plot was going on here? It was a little complicated. His brain buzzed as he thought about it. Forget it. Who cares? No matter what schemes they had, it had nothing to do with him. He would either go head on, or he wouldn't. P.S. I recommend a book, Future Entertainment. If you're interested, you could take a look. P.S. Thank you, Ken 629, Tan Feng, Xiang Shou, Kanyang's Teen, and a few elders for your rewards. Everyone, please give me some monthly votes. Really? Chapter 123. The last time he entered Jiang City was to find Zhang Tianxian. He didn't take a look and left right after finding him. Father's friends were all so weird. Logically speaking, strong people should know strong friends. How did father know Zhang Tianshan, that old fox? Right, he was an old fox. He didn't see how skilled he was, even if he established Marshall Path Mountain. In the end, it closed down, so what else could he say? Jiang City was not bad, and the environment was much better than Yu City. Have you noted down the things you want to buy? Lin Fan asked. Go Z follow behind. Young master, I have. I will go ask where to buy those things. Wolf Brigade redeemed 30,000 silver. Huang Boren invested 20,000, a total of 50,000, which was already a huge sum. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he was rich. Even when he was at home in Yu City, he had never seen so much silver. Gozi asked the passers-by and returned, Young master, I got it. A few hundred meters ahead is the biggest market in Jiang City. They have everything there. Lin Fan wanted to buy some things to change his living environment. He was the sect leader now, so naturally he had to give him the treatment that a sect leader deserved. Very quickly, the three of them came to the Jiang City market. Looking out, it was majestic. It wasn't that it was beautiful, but that there were many goods placed there. Just like what that person said, one could buy anything in the Jiang City market. The shouts were continuous. People walked to and fro, and many people were picking things in the market. He found a shop that sold beds. There were many beds inside and outside the shop, and there were many different styles. Lin Fan walked in and touched the beds. He wasn't used to it. He was most used to the ones with the Simmons in the past. Young master, do you need anything? The shop owner was middle-aged and a little fat. He looked really smart, and he warmly welcomed Lin Fan in. Lin Fan said, I want to buy a bed and recommend a few. The boss smiled and led Lin Fan and the others in. Young master, take a look at this. It is made of top-quality rosewood, and there are no problems with the material. It is majestic, beautiful, and comfortable to sleep on. Moreover, even if it is broken, it will be repaired. It is definitely worth it, just 20 silver. Lin Fan didn't say anything. He touched it, and it felt really good. He then looked toward Gozi. He didn't know the price, so he had to ask Gozi. Gozi said, Boss, 15 silver. My young master will buy it. The boss was in a difficult position. That's too low. You're reducing the price by 5 taels at once. All right. Since this young master likes it, I'll sell it. It was mainly because he saw that Lin Fan was about to leave that he relented. Earning a few taels of silver was enough. Just one look at Gozi, and he knew that he was someone who understood the price. He definitely wouldn't be able to kill him, so he decided to just earn less. Gozi paid and said, Send the bed to Marshall Path Mountain. Don't think about changing it. I will check carefully. Don't worry. I'm an old merchant. What matters most is credibility. The boss hurriedly said, Oh my God, this servant is really hard to deal with. Marshall Path Mountain? These people were from Marshall Path Mountain. Seeing Lin Fan and the rest leave, the boss shook his head and didn't think too much about it. Then he chuckled. Today was a good day. He had his first customer. Gozi said softly, Young master, these merchants are really cunning. If you like anything, I will take a look. Lin Fan smiled. Okay, I don't worry about you. Young Master's praise made Gozi feel a little smug. Wasn't his biggest wish to make Master satisfied? He felt like he had already achieved that. However, he still needed to work hard. Lin Fan said, take a look for yourselves and buy whatever you need. We have a huge sum of money on us now. Oh, Zhou Zhongmao replied. He didn't have anything to buy and wasn't interested. Anyway, it was the same. He would look at his cousin in the day, and at night, he would cultivate. Gozi didn't need anything. His current life was good. Gozi followed the list and bought everything that young Master needed. He understood what young Master was thinking, which was to raise his living conditions to that of the Lin Manor. That wasn't difficult at all. Even if it was difficult, he would think of a way to help young Master solve it. All the way until noon, he finally bought everything. However, he spent 100 silver. To normal people, this was a huge sum. He then ate a full meal at Weifu restaurant. He had nothing to do, so he returned to Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan thought that under normal circumstances at least something would happen, like some small problems. However, regretfully, everything went too smoothly. By the time the sun was about to set, there were already merchants delivering goods one after another. Good fellow, they're going to decorate Marshall Path Mountain. Not bad, not bad. Zhang Tianshan rushed over right away. He surrounded a bed and looked closely. The smile on his face was like a blooming flower. It was like he thought that these things were for him. Yuan Tianshu was really calm. Looking at how happy Zhang Tianshan was, he didn't want to say anything. Keep dreaming. How could these things be yours? He didn't expect that surnamed Lin to be so kind to buy things for him. Keep dreaming. He just didn't understand. They had already spent a period of time together and went through some things. How could he not understand what kind of person he was? Was it because he couldn't think straight or what? We might not have a share, Liang Yongqi muttered. Listen, even he knew that they didn't have a share, so why didn't he understand? Right as Zhang Tianshan was about to touch it, Gozi came out and said, Don't touch. This belongs to my young master. Zhang Tianshan looked at Gozi with a weird expression. What about us? Gozi, he shook his head. None for you. What? Zhang Tianshan exclaimed. I can understand if the two of them don't have one. After all, they're just disciples. But as the deputy sect leader, how can I not have one? What did it have to do with them? Could he not drag them down when he lost face? Yuan Tianshu giggled. Can't you see the reality? None for you. Your deputy sect leader position is similar to ours. Stop talking about it. It is so pointless, and you are asking to be humiliated. Liang Yongqi didn't think that they would have a share. Who knew what was going on with Zhang Tianshan? He was asking to be humiliated. Helpless. He couldn't understand. Move the things and follow me. Slow down, don't break them. If you break them, I won't admit it. Go. Z brought the various merchants towards young Master's courtyard. Young Master was a proper person and didn't like things that clashed. He reminded the merchants and hoped that they would pay more attention. Naturally, the merchants knew about Marshall Path Mountain. However, their impression of Marshall Path Mountain was naturally the closed Marshall Path Mountain from a long time ago. As for the current Marshall Path Mountain, they were a little shocked. It seemed like it was not bad. Zhang Tianshan looked at these things with red eyes. Thinking about the things in his room, it was like heaven and earth. No, I have to find him and talk to him. How can I not have these things? Zhang Tianshan left in a huff. Yuan Tianshu followed closely behind. He wanted to go too. However, he definitely didn't say anything. If he could gain some benefits, that would be great. If he couldn't, then he wouldn't lose anything. Liang Yongqi pouted. Zhang Tianshan going to find Lin Fan was a waste of time. However, when he saw Yuan Tianshu follow, he instantly felt that there was a problem. Damn, he had to go too. Even if he didn't know the exact situation, he definitely couldn't let them take advantage of him. For some reason, Liang Yongqi felt that life was tiring. He didn't feel as carefree as when he was in U City. These days, lonely, dangerous, boring. Within the courtyard that Lin Fan lived in. Sect leader, that is too much. Why don't I have them? Zhang Tianshan asked right away. His expression was a little bitter. No matter what, he was the deputy sect leader. If they got closer, he would be his uncle. His status in Marshall Path Mountain was below one person and above four people. Logically speaking, he should have share too. Lin Fan and Cousin stood in the courtyard. In a while, there would be a huge change here. Lin Fan saw Zhang Tianxian walk over and said calmly, "Excessive luxury will cause one to fall." As the deputy sect leader of Marshall Path Mountain, you should set a good example for the disciples. Zhang Tianshan said, "I don't fall, I don't spend. It is okay, just decorate my room." In the future, Marshall Path Mountain lacks funds. We need to be thrifty and not extravagant. Lin Fan said, "Damn, were those words even spoken by a human?" He actually said that they lacked funds. Those 50,000 silver wasn't money. Zhang Tianshan pulled Lin Fan to the side and lowered his head. "Kid, I am friends with your father. No matter what, I am your uncle. I understand that you don't want those two people to get good things. I can act out a show, and then you can help me decorate my room. How about that?" Yuan Tianshu was filled with disdain. Even if he didn't hear it, he knew what he was talking about. Lin Fan said, "I really don't have money." "What?" Zhang Tianshan stared at Lin Fan like he was saying, "That kid, Uncle already said that to you, and you still didn't give me a chance. Were you really so stingy?" Lin Fan saw that Zhang Tianshan was looking at him and nodded his head. "I really don't have money, you know that." What did he know? He didn't know whether or not he had money. How could those shiny banknotes be fake? He was finished. Marshall Path Mountain's new sect leader was so stingy. Their future days would be tough. "Brother Yuan, will our future days be tough? Why don't we sneak back to Yu City?" Liang Yongqi said softly. Yuan Tianshu said, "I don't want to go back. I understand why I came out. You are weak and aren't suitable to stay here. You could go back yourself." Damn, what a beast. This was a F***king insult. I just suggested and you said that I was weak. Great, I won't go back. I want to see how long you can last. Liang Yongqi didn't think as much as Yuan Tianshu, but he knew that Lin Fan was a little cunning. If he followed beside him, he wouldn't be able to enjoy good things, but he would have to share the pain with him. He wanted to see how long Yuan Tianshu could last. He really knew how to brag. He made it sound like he was really amazing. "Go." Z brought the merchants in and instructed them to place the goods at the fixed spots. He knew how young master liked to place them. This was something that a personal servant should know. Zhang Tianshan was filled with despair towards this kid. He couldn't pry open his mouth at all. He was Lin Wani's son, but why wasn't he as easy to talk to as his father? In the past, when his father obtained good things, as long as he said something nice and licked it, he would be able to get it. He said that he had no money. Could he believe it? If he did, then he would be a fool. Not long later, the entire courtyard was brand new. It was much better than Yu City's environment. Lin Fan was really satisfied. This was the kind of day he wanted. That night, Lin Fan was cooling off in the courtyard. Cousin was at the side. Suddenly, he looked in the darkness and said furiously, "Who is it?" A person slowly walked out from the darkness. "It is you. P.S. Separate chapters to save a lot of things. Asking for monthly votes, asking for subscriptions. If you don't raise them, you will die." Chapter 124. Zhou Zhongmao recognized who it was right away. He had just fought. Lin Fan didn't recognize him and had never seen him before. "Cousin, who is he?" That was impossible. Even Cousin knew who he was, so why didn't he? Zhou Zhongmao said, "Cousin, he is a bandit from Wolf Brigade. Last time he ran, so I snatched his weapon." "Oh." Lin Fan nodded his head. That person walked out from the darkness. He was muscular, and the knife scar on his face looked really terrifying. However, Lin Fan felt that this person's mental state wasn't good. "Now that you sent yourself to me, I will take you down." Zhou Zhongmao's fists clashed, and he was prepared to take him down. He was sure that he would be able to take him down this time. "Wait." Lin Fan raised his hand to tell his cousin not to be rash. Wolf Brigade was already wiped out by Chun family, so why did this bandit come to find him? What was going on here? "Who are you from Wolf Brigade? Why did you come to Marshall Path Mountain?" Lin Fan asked. "An eye for an eye, and an eye for an eye. Your wolf brigade was wiped out by Chun family. So even if you wanted to take revenge, you had to go to Chun family. Why did you come to Marshall Path Mountain? I'm the leader of Wolf Brigade. I came here to discuss a cooperation with you. The leader's voice was really hoarse, and it didn't have that heroic feeling from before. His voice was really low, and there was no emotion in his eyes. Lin Fan's mind worked quickly. He immediately thought about why this fellow came to find him. I am sorry, I don't lack people to work with here. You can find people to work with elsewhere. Lin Fan said. He was living a peaceful life now. He didn't want to cause too much trouble. Wolf Brigade was wiped out, and the leader was still alive, so why did he want to work with him? He definitely wanted to take revenge. If he wanted to take revenge, he had to fight Chun family to the death. They weren't related, and a few days ago they even fought. There was no reason for them to work together. Zhou Mao said, my cousin said that if we don't work together, then leave. Otherwise, don't blame me for taking you down. 100,000 silver, help me. The leader said word by word. He didn't know who to find for help. Chun family couldn't be offended. After escaping from the cliff, a few hours later, his cultivation recovered, but the entire Wolf Brigade was in ruins. The rage in his heart couldn't be extinguished, and he just wanted to take revenge. He thought about Marshall Path Mountain. This was because Marshall Path Mountain had extorted him for him to pay for the ransom, which meant that they needed money. At the same time, they also had conflicts with the Chun family. This was why he came to Marshall Path Mountain to work with them. Yes, Lin Fan did not want to get involved in such matters. But suddenly, the words 100,000 silvers were extremely piercing to the ears. It was a little hard for him to accept. 100,000 taels. This isn't a matter of money. The key is Pa. The great master placed the bag on his back on the ground. Inside was a thick stack of silver notes. He had hidden the money somewhere. When he was tired in the future, he would take his brothers to enjoy it. However, he didn't expect that before he could enjoy it, he would be gone. What was the point of keeping the money? The leader said, as long as you help me, I will give you 100,000. Marshall Path Mountain and Chun family have conflicts. Our Wolf Brigade came to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain on orders from Chun family. Now that Wolf Brigade is gone, Chun family won't let this matter rest. One day, they will trample Marshall Path Mountain. What he said made sense. Lin Fan pondered and looked at the silver from time to time. However, this huge sum of money was not easy to earn. He was a person with principles. Lin Fan personally came to Marshall Path Mountain with silver. If he really wanted to take it, he could just let cousin attack. Lin Fan was definitely not his match. However, he was a person who cared about morals. Could he do such a thing? He definitely couldn't. The old man he saw in the morning gave him a really annoyed feeling. He looked like a bad person, and his words were really unclear. He felt like he was revealing bad news. Lin Fan said, your words make sense. Do you want to kill Chun family young master or old master Chun, or wipe out the entire Chun family? He had to make things clear. He hadn't gotten all the rage points, and his strength hadn't risen to its peak. If he did, it would be a little problematic. Although 100,000 silver was great, he had to consider his own strength. Kill Qin Daoyan, the leader said with a dark expression. Listen to that voice. One could hear that there was a huge grudge between them. If they didn't fight to the death, then they definitely wouldn't be able to solve it. Lin Fan said, do you know how strong old Master Qin is? Are there any experts in the manner? The leader said, he is a little stronger than me. He should be peak grade 9. I don't know whether or not there are experts in the manner, but there should be. Damn, this was a problem. Peak Marshall Path grade 9. Cousin had just entered Marshall Path grade 9 not long ago. 2 at Marshall Path grade 9 and 1 at peak grade 8. Who knew how difficult it would be for the 3 of them to attack together? The key was if old Master Chun had experts by his side. With the 3 of them, they would probably be wiped out. It was a huge headache and wasn't easy to deal with. Zhou Mao said softly, cousin, maybe we can try. Silver isn't important, but I feel that old Master Chun wants to kill us. Why not use this chance to kill him? Do you have confidence in fighting him head-on? Lin Fan asked. Zhou Mao wasn't sure, but if he was peak grade 9, he had some confidence. 60%. Lin Fan thought about it. Money wasn't easy to earn. The big leader didn't force him. Instead, he waited quietly. He didn't have any helpers left. Even if he took 100,000 to find a so-called expert, maybe the moment he gave the money, they would work together with the Chun family to scam him to death. This was why he would rather find Marshall Path Mountain than others. If Zhang Tianxian knew about the situation, he would definitely exclaim, "Big business, this was a huge business. Why did Marshall Path Mountain go bankrupt in the past?" It was because they had no business and no silver. After a long while, Lin Fan was unable to resist the temptation of money. "I can work with you, but you have to wait. I need to understand the exact situation. I can't be like your Wolf Brigade, not understanding the situation of Marshall Path Mountain before sending people over." The leader didn't study. Or rather, in the entire Wolf Brigade, only Fourth Brother read a few books and had some knowledge. When he thought about Fourth Brother, he wanted to cry. He then turned the sadness into rage and sent it all to old Master Chun. If he gave it to Lin Fan, he would definitely explode. "Okay." The leader nodded his head. "Before we confirm it, you stay in the deepest part of Marshall Path Mountain. Don't come out and run about. If people see you, I can't help you. Also, I have a habit of working with people, which is to collect money first." Lin Fan reached out. His meaning was obvious: to pay up. He couldn't just pay up for that kind of cooperation. He had thought of many possibilities in his mind. For example, when there was a war, the leader charged forward and died together with old Master Chin. However, he didn't pay up. When he asked where the money was, the leader wanted to say, but he instantly died. If that really happened, he wouldn't be able to find a place to cry. Lin Fan said, "Don't worry. I am a person with principles and never lie." He really was such a person. Like a while ago, when the Wolf Brigade sent money to redeem people, did he go against his words? No. He released them just like that, directly letting them leave Marshall Path Mountain. However, once they left Marshall Path Mountain, it had nothing to do with him. Bandits, they did too many bad things. As an outstanding man, how could he allow bandits to roam around Marshall Path Mountain? He could only let Cousin chase them. The leader passed the bag to Lin Fan and raised his head. "I hope you can keep your promise, otherwise, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go." "Don't worry. If there is someone to do it, then why not? Do I look like such a person?" Lin Fan waved his hands. The leader was sad and didn't have the mood to diss. If it was in the past, he would have dissed. "One look, and you look like such a person." After which, he called Gozi and told him to arrange a faraway place for the leader to stay. He couldn't be seen by others. If someone recognized that he was the leader of the Wolf Brigade, they would definitely report him to the Chun family. That would be a huge problem. Within the room, "Cousin, tell me the truth. Do you have confidence?" Lin Fan asked. Zhou Zhongmao said solemnly, "Cousin, I have confidence. If I attack with that fellow, I have a 60% chance of killing old Master Chin." 60% isn't high, just half and half. "What if you add me?" Lin Fan said. Zhou Zhongmao found it weird and then said, "Cousin, don't take the risk. Otherwise, I will have to protect you, and I won't have any confidence at all." Instantly, Lin Fan grabbed Cousin's hand. Thick internal strength surged towards Cousin's body. They were going to compete in internal strength. Zhou Zhongmao was shocked and filled with disbelief. Oh my God, since when did Cousin become so strong? If his uncle knew about this, he would be very unhappy. "What about now?" Lin Fan asked. Zhou Zhongmao said 70% and above. However, Lin Fan didn't let Cousin continue. He patted his shoulder and smiled calmly, low profile. Had he ever shown himself before? No, he had never been arrogant before. Did he tell anyone that he was so strong? Also no. What was the use of being strong? If one could live a good life, then that was truly amazing. Just like this leader of the Wolf Brigade, he was strong, but his life was tough. His home was wiped out. Why? Wasn't it because he was too high profile? Low profile now was to pave the way for him to be high profile in the future. Watch and see. Once I raise my strength to the peak, see how high profile I am. This was an inner monologue. Lin Fan felt like it was a classic. He had to hide these 100,000 silver in a safer place. If Zhang Tianshan and the others saw it, it would be dangerous. It was hard to defend against a thief in one's own home. Even if they used their integrity to guarantee that they wouldn't steal it, he wouldn't believe them. He even wanted to ask if they had integrity. They were corrupted by money. When they saw so much money, they would probably go crazy. Only he could calm himself down and not be tempted by money. In the end, he hid the silver under the bed and instructed Cousin to pay attention to the situation here. Tomorrow, he would start to investigate the Chun family. He had to understand the situation. Only then would he have the confidence to succeed. Gozi arranged for the leader to stay in a room at the side. This place was already abandoned, and no one came here usually. The leader laid there and found it hard to sleep. The moment he closed his eyes, he would think about what happened that night. In the past, an old monk told him, "Kill less sins. Heaven's way of doing things, and karma would come." Chapter 125. Morning. The sky was bright. Jiang City welcomed people to scout for news. Lin Fan brought Cousin into the city and started to investigate Qin family. To solve this matter perfectly and safely, he had to understand the specific situation of Qin family. He couldn't be careless. Qin Manor, as expected from an aristocratic family in Jiang City. Just the entrance alone was really majestic. 2 stone statues that were taller than humans stood on both sides. When normal people passed, they would have to make way. 100,000 silver wasn't easy to earn. He brought Cousin to the stall opposite and drank tea. At the same time, he observed the specific situation of Chun family. First, he looked at Chun family's daily entry and exit. Not long later, Chun Shengyao brought his servant out. Teacher Li Song followed him. "Cousin, I beat this fellow a few days ago," Zhou Zhou said. The main reason was that he looked familiar. Lin Fan looked at Cousin in shock. Damn, he understood why Chun family wanted Wolf Brigade to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain. So that was the reason. Li Song was beaten up, but no matter what, he was just a teacher. What could he do? Qin family wouldn't use Wolf Brigade to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain for a teacher. Cousin beat up Chen Shengyao, so he was definitely unhappy. With his position, it was enough to use Wolf Brigade. What a waste. Marshall Path Mountain was fine, but Wolf Brigade was wiped out by Chun family. There were many stories behind this. Be low profile in the future. Lin Fan persuaded, hoping that Cousin wouldn't be too rash. Rash was the devil. Look at what happened. They worked together to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain, but now they had internal conflicts. His cousin scratched his head honestly. "Oh, I know, Cousin." A well-behaved cousin was really lovable. The stall owner was an old man. He saw that the two of them had been sitting here for a period of time and had been staring at Chen Manor. He sighed. Young people nowadays were just biting off more than they could chew. What was the use of envying them? One had to work hard. If one didn't work hard, even if one looked at them every day, it was useless. After a long while, a carriage stopped at the entrance of Chen Manor. Old Master Chen walked out, and beside him were 3 males. The 3 of them didn't look like servants. They dressed like experts. Looking at their expressions, they were expressionless and had a cold intent. One look and one knew that they were experts. True enough. How would old Master Chen not have experts by his side? Lin Fan followed. He didn't dare to get too close. A true expert had strong senses. If he got too close or stared at him for too long, he would be sensed. However, he was not afraid at all. I was the Marshall Path Mountain sect leader. I was a good citizen. So what problems would there be if I entered the city to take a look? When he and his cousin were within a certain range. One of the 3 men turned around and met Lin Fan's gaze. There was a warning in his eyes, as if to say, "Scram." Then, the man approached the sedan and whispered softly. He was probably reporting the situation. The sedan chair slowly came to a stop. Old Master Chen pulled open the curtain and smiled. "Sect Leader Lin, what a coincidence." Lin Fan smiled. "What a coincidence. I saw Old Master Chen, which was why I followed. I didn't expect this little brother to be so wary. Before I got close, I was noticed. Amazing." "Ha!" Old Master Chen laughed. "I am old, and it is inconvenient for me to move around. It is good to have someone to serve me. Where are you going, Sect Leader Lin?" "I'm not going anywhere. I just have 2 things to tell Old Master Chen." One is that when Marshall Path Mountain opens, I hope old Master Chun can do me the honor and join in. Lin Fan said, who didn't know how to brag. As for whether or not he could join, that would depend on whether or not things could be done in these few days. It would also depend on whether or not old Master Chen's life was long enough. Old Master Chan said, of course, Marshall Path Mountain is the only sect within 100 miles of Jiang City. Even if I am unwell, I will definitely join. What about the second matter? Lin Fan said, the second is that my cousin had some conflicts with young Master Chun. I just found out about it, so I came to apologize to old Master Chun. Old Master Chun looked at Zhou Zhongmao. Zhou Zhongmao smiled in a silly manner, revealing his white teeth. His first impression was that he was an honest kid. He looked really good when he smiled. It is okay. It is unavoidable for young people to bump into each other. I won't take it to heart. Old Master Chun smiled. The magnanimity he showed was huge. However, no one knew what he was thinking. Rage points plus 111. Oh damn. What did he say just now? So he was really angry in his heart. Needless to say, even if the small support system didn't show his name, he knew who gave him the rage points. It was definitely old Master Chun, who didn't look like a good person. Lin Fan said, old Master Chun is magnanimous, then thank you. I won't disturb old Master Chun. We will return to the mountain. After which, old Master Chen's carriage left into the distance. Rage points plus 123. Rage points struck him once more. How could they be so narrow-minded? Was everyone in this family narrow-minded? Within the carriage, old Master Chun was expressionless, but his eyes were filled with viciousness. He scolded in his heart. Little brat, wait and see. Once this matter was settled, he would teach all of you a lesson. Cousin, let's go back. Zhou Zhongmao said. Lin Fan said, why? Let's follow. He had already grasped the range of their senses. He got close to see how far they could sense. Now he knew that they could sense within 40 steps. He was thinking about something. If he wiped out the Chun family, Jiang City would definitely be controlled by the Huang family. When that happened, things would be much easier. After following old Master Chun to a secluded area in the city, he didn't continue to follow. Old Master Chun had already entered the room. He and his cousin hid outside for a while. Just as they were prepared to leave, someone came from afar. This is... Lin Fan frowned. He saw a jade pendant on that person's body. The mark on it was a little familiar. Thinking about it, he recalled that it was King Wudong's mark. Who knew that old Master Chun was with King Wudong? Within the room. Old Master Chun, have you thought about it? The man standing in front of old Master Chun gave off an extraordinary aura. Just one look and one knew that he was someone who often fought on the battlefield. Old Master Chun said, I have thought about it. Since King Wudong has high hopes for Chun family, we will go all out to support King Wudong in his plans. All right, as long as your Chun family supports us, you will enjoy endless glory and wealth in the future. Take this jade pendant with you. If you see this jade pendant somewhere else in the future, it means that the other party is also one of us. The man removed the jade pendant from his waist and handed it to the other party. Old Master Chun received it with both hands. His fingers trembled and he was a little nervous. Chin family's foundation wasn't good. They were bandits who killed and robbed, committing all sorts of crimes. In the end, they cleaned up their reputation and slowly built up the Chun family business. But their identity wasn't clean, such that Chin family wasn't welcomed on the path of power in the imperial city. They would even be ostracized. Today, their chance was here. King Wudong was able to look up to Chun family and bring them to carry out his plans. That was Chun family's hope to walk towards a higher position. Also, don't cause any trouble during this period of time. The Imperial Dynasty's secret department has started to investigate the aristocratic families that follow King Wudong. Don't expose yourself. The man said, don't worry, we definitely won't expose ourselves. Old Master Chen said. He waved his hands and a man beside him took out a goose egg-sized pearl. Just a small token, please accept it. In the future, please help me say a few good words in front of King Wudong. No, definitely not. You are insulting me. The man rejected it. His expression was one of rage, like he was saying that if he did that, he would turn on him. But his hands were well behaved. He opened his pockets like he was saying, "Don't give it to me, put it in my pocket." Old Master Chen scolded in his heart. What a fake fellow, still acting. However, he still silently placed the pearl into his pocket. The man said, "Old Master Chen, don't do that in the future. You should just keep it. I will take my leave." The moment he said that, the man left. His footsteps were filled with the wind. Damn, bastard. If he didn't accept it, then return it to him. He actually took it away. Lin Fan had long returned to Marshall Path Mountain. Old Master Chun had 3 experts beside him, but they were weaker than Cousin. However, if the 3 of them continued to follow beside Old Master Chun, they wouldn't be able to attack. The pressure would be too huge, and it would be easy for things to happen. He thought about assassinating the 3 of them, but the chances weren't high. The 3 of them ate and wore what they ate in the Chin manner. Usually, they followed beside Old Master Chun. It was really difficult to assassinate them. Give up just like that? That was impossible. He had to do it after taking the 100,000. If he couldn't, he would have to return the money. Lin Fan lowered his head and was in deep thought. He walked towards the back courtyard. Yuan Tianchu noticed that Lin Fan's expression was a little solemn. He understood that he was thinking about something. Based on his guesses, this matter wasn't simple. Based on what happened during this period of time, it might have something to do with the Chun family. Don't ask why he knew about it. Connecting all the details together, it was easy for him to come to such a conclusion. He just wanted to know the specifics. It was a little difficult. There were too few details, and he wasn't able to deduce much. A few days passed. Lin Fan and Cousin walked around the Chun Manor, searching for a chance to attack. However, it wasn't easy to find one. Just as Lin Fan was at his wit's end and was prepared to take a gamble and charge in, the chance came. He and Cousin were still drinking tea at the old man's place. The Chun family servants he met were drinking tea too. From their conversation, he knew that Old Master Chun was going to head out tomorrow. Thinking about it, he decided not to wait. He would attack tomorrow. Although 3 against 4 might be a little tiring, this was their only chance. If he missed this chance, there wouldn't be a next time. When Lin Fan told the leader that he was going to attack tomorrow, the leader was really excited. His eyes were about to turn red. Zhou Zhongmao returned the blade to the leader. He wasn't used to using that thing, and his fists were more comfortable. At night, he didn't sleep. He was cultivating to ensure that he was at his peak. The next day, a carriage slowly left Jiang City, and no one noticed it. However, there were already people waiting in the direction they were heading. Chapter 126. Chin Manor's carriage left Jiang City and traveled on a deserted road. Suddenly, a person appeared in front, causing the carriage to slow down. Old Master, someone is blocking the road. Old Master Chen didn't care. He opened the curtains and looked at the person in the distance. When he saw it clearly, his expression changed. Qin Zhong, you're still alive. He didn't expect that Qin Zhong wasn't dead. That night, he saw him jump off the cliff. He was really lucky. The leader held his blade and locked onto Old Master Chun. He hollered, "Chun Daoyun, I came back from hell to find you to take your dog life. Old Master, I will deal with him." The 3 guys beside him said. Chen Daoyun stopped them and smiled. "Qin Zhong, how did you even survive? Now that you've appeared in front of me again, I'm very happy. This means that I didn't do anything wrong. If you were still loyal to me, none of this would have happened. But now, everything that has happened is your own fault." The leader hollered in rage. "Old thief, the heavens didn't want me and sent me to take your life. What does your Chin family treat the Wolf Brigade as? Do you think we're dogs? I have waited for so long for this day. You are finally out. Even if I have to risk my life, I want you to die. I will use your life to pay tribute to my brothers." At this moment, the leader wanted to charge up and kill Qin Daoyun. However, he bore with it. "Ha ha ha, you're right. I treated you all as dogs. It isn't too late to know now. Since you are alive, then find a place to live. Unfortunately, you don't cherish it." Qin Daoyun said regretfully. "Damn." Lin Fan and Cousin dug a hole and hid by the leader's feet. When he heard Old Master Chin's words, he couldn't take it anymore. His words were too direct. He actually called them dogs. If it was him, he would rebel too. Kill. Chen Daoyan waved his hands. He didn't take away a cloud, but he would take away a life. The three men were experts by Chen Daoyan's side. They were also known as thugs. After receiving the order, the three of them moved extremely quickly. At that moment, the internal strength that the three of them gave off was really thick. The surrounding air twisted like it was being roasted by flames. Chen Daoyan looked on calmly. If the three of them joined forces, Qin Zhong would only have a dead end. Betraying the master will only result in death. The three of US brothers will send you on your way. In an instant, a layer of light appeared on the palms of the three of them. This was a sign that they had pushed their inner energy to the limit. The leader stood there calmly. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. He let out a low growl. Kill. In an instant, two people jumped out beside the great leader, scaring the three of them. Zhou Zhongmao let out a low roar and opened his arms. The muscles on his body bulged as he grabbed at one of them. Lin Fan held the long blade in his hand and used the lightning blade for strokes. The blade shone brightly, as if there was lightning flashing on it. All of this was the condensation of inner energy, an endless amount of inner energy that was exploding. Kill. Lin Fan, Zhou Zhongmao, and the leader attacked at the same time. Each of them focused on one and went all out. The three men were frightened by this scene. When they rushed towards the leader, they were very fast and ferocious. The sudden appearance of two people scared them so much that their bodies trembled as if they had seen a ghost. Lin Fan had raised the lightning blade 4 strokes to the returning to true realm. One blade slashed out, and even ghosts and gods couldn't block it. The blade light tore through the air. The seemingly ordinary blade caused the guy who clashed with Lin Fan to feel his body turn cold like death was covering him. One blade slashed out, and the blade landed. The other party's eyes were still filled with fear, and he slowed down. After taking 2 steps forward, he stopped moving as if he was dumbfounded. Pucci. Suddenly, a crack appeared on the guy's forehead. It grew longer and longer, extending past his neck and then to his stomach and butt. Pung pung. Fresh blood splattered. His body was split into 2, and he fell to the ground with a thud. Lin Fan was stunned, and a look of shock appeared on his face. Am I so strong? He had originally thought that he would have to fight with his opponent for a while. But who would have thought that he would only be able to slash out his saber strike that he thought was passable? He did not expect that it would be so powerful. Impossible. He definitely couldn't be so strong. He was definitely too weak. As a rich family young master, his hands weren't stained with blood, and he was kind. He wasn't even prepared to personally take his life. So how could he slice him into 2 with one blade? His flesh was a little charred. That was caused by the lightning blade 4 strokes. Cousin hollered loudly, and his aura was too strong. He grabbed the guy's arm and used brute force to rip it, causing the guy to cry out in pain. But this was just the beginning. Cousin pinned the person in his elbow, his other hand forming a claw, grabbing onto the person's head and pulling upwards. Ah! The man screamed miserably. Blood flowed from his eyes, and his eyeballs were filled with blood. What kind of demon was this? Save me. Save me. Sila. Cousin was too violent, and his methods were really vicious. The scene was too gory, and there were no words to describe it. Normal people would be so frightened that they would pee their pants when they saw such a scene. Lin Fan couldn't bear to look at it. My dear cousin, why can't you just do it properly and have to use such disgusting methods? As your cousin, I can't take it anymore. Forget it, forget it. Cousin was really honest. Maybe this was his only hobby. The leader's side was a little defeated. He wasn't able to take down the guy, but he was able to suppress him. What a waste. Compared to Lin Fan, the gap was too huge. You are too slow. Let me help you. Zhou Zhongmao hollered, punching his heart. Pung! His back exploded, and his broken heart was punched out. Vicious. He was just too vicious. Maybe the heavens were fair. You had such vicious methods, but I gave you an honest face, allowing you to walk in the world with more confusion. The leader hollered, Chen Daoyan, you're next. Chen Daoyan was stunned as he looked at the situation. What happened? His 3 guards actually died just like that. They were all confidants that he groomed with much difficulty. They were really strong, and the weakest was peak grade 8. His heart was dripping blood. Bastard, bastard, do you know how much effort I put into grooming these 3 confidants? Treasures were piled up. Medicinal baths were soaked. He had also plundered many secret manuals of divine arts. However, they were all gone now. 30 years of hard work was gone in the blink of an eye. At this moment, Chun Daoyan noticed Lin Fan and said in disbelief, "Sect leader Lin, what is the meaning of this?" Rage points plus 666. He didn't expect those kids from Marshall Path Mountain to be together with Qin Zhong. Lin Fan said helplessly, "Actually, there is no meaning. I took his money, so I helped him get rid of problems. He wants to kill you, and I have nothing to do recently. I was tempted by these 100,000 silver and couldn't take it anymore. So I came. F***CK your mother." Chun Daoyan didn't expect such a situation to happen. "Sect leader Lin, I will give you double. Kill him for me." Chun Daoyan said, "No, do you know morals? How about this? You give me 200,000 silver, and after we kill you, I will help you kill him. How about that?" Lin Fan said, "That was a good idea." This fully demonstrated how great his need for wealth was. At the same time, it didn't go against his morals and principles. Chun Daoyan's expression was really ugly. "You are talking nonsense." Rage points plus 777. "Since that is the case, then there is nothing I can do. I'm telling you the truth, but you treat it like I am farting. This is really tough. Attack." Lin Fan waved his hands to let cousin and the leader attack first. Rage points plus 888. Not bad. He earned 100,000 silver, and he could even get rage points. Chun Daoyan died. The leader went mad, charging even fiercer than Zhou Zhongmao. He raised the blade in his hand and slashed towards Chun Daoyan. Each blade was filled with all his strength. He had really reached the peak of rage. At this moment, Chun Daoyan's robe swelled up, and he said with a dark expression, "Just a few of you aren't enough." The leader held the blade, his gaze sharp. A white mist spread out from his body, and it actually formed into a horse. Blade-raising horse. His martial arts were used on the battlefield. The vengeful energy was really heavy, and the destructive power was really strong. Chun Daoyan scoffed coldly. He pressed down with his hands, and thick internal strength formed a barrier to block it. Kung! When the blade slashed onto it, it felt like it was hitting a piece of metal. The leader hollered in rage, and the veins on his arms popped up like tree roots. He only had one goal, which was to kill Chun Daoyan. Zhou Mao hollered, instantly going berserk. He used the demon ape fist. The demon ape illusion appeared, and he took it head on. Amazing. He was really amazing. Lin Fan moved about, searching for a chance to charge forward. If the leader fought Chun Daoyan alone, the outcome would be death. But it was different now. Cousin joining in gave Chun Daoyan huge pressure, giving the leader a chance to behave arrogantly in front of Chun Daoyan. However, looking at the situation, it was a little dangerous. They didn't gain any advantage at all, and they were even slightly injured. Chun Daoyan was shocked. He didn't care about Qin Zhong at all, but this simple and honest-looking guy was really amazing. The martial arts that he used were too deep. It wasn't something that a normal sect could teach. Just at that moment, he felt danger strike from behind him. Mixed energy broken jade hand. Lin Fan struck with 2 fingers, and it was really sharp. This cultivation technique specialized in breaking internal strength. Pung! One finger struck Chun Daoyan's back, and the destructive internal strength energy surged in. Puchi! Chun Daoyan couldn't help but spit out blood. He was furious. This kid actually dared to sneak attack him. He then slapped towards Lin Fan. The palm strength was really thick and couldn't be underestimated. Refresh. Lightning blade 4 strokes disappeared, and the unmovable king body reached the returning to true realm. He activated the unmovable king body, and a huge change occurred in his body. His defense reached a really high level. Pung! Chun Daoyan's palm seemed to have smashed onto an iron board, but it still forced Lin Fan back. Lin Fan felt okay, it wasn't that painful, and he didn't feel that bad. Everything was really calm. His throat was a little sweet, and fresh blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. This was the first time he was injured, but it wasn't a big injury. All the internal strength was scattered, and it only caused a bit of ripple. This was the effect of raising his physical body and cultivating the unmovable king body to a really high level. Zhou Zhongmao saw the blood at the corner of cousin's mouth. He instantly went crazy. "You actually dare to hurt my cousin. I will kill you." Zhou Zhongmao hollered in rage, and black internal strength appeared from his body. His eyes were actually a little red, and he bared his teeth. His hair stood up, and he looked like an ancient beast that had revived. All the meridians in his body were opened up, and he guided Zhou Zhongmao's internal strength to activate the demon-enforcing heart scripture, and he circulated all his meridians. At that moment, he was on the verge of rage. All of Zhou Zhongmao's meridians were opened up, and thick internal strength filled each of them. He directly entered a berserk state. A fist struck towards Chun Daoyun, and the strong internal strength couldn't be blocked at all. Chun Daoyun's expression changed. Internal strength exploded out, and he formed a protective energy to block. Pong! Instantly, a thick layer of dust rose up, and it wrapped everyone up. P.S. Thank you, Alliance Leader Che Pao. P.S. Asking for subscriptions, asking for monthly tickets. Everyone, please send some if you have them. Thank you. I will continue to work hard. Chapter 127. Cough, cough. Lin Fan waved his hands. The dust was too thick, and he even choked. At that moment, he heard a panting sound. It was Cousin's voice. "Cousin, are you okay?" Lin Fan asked. Those scenes were too shocking. He had never seen Cousin explode like that. Who? Who? The dust was thick, and one couldn't see anything. Zhou Zhongmao's breathing calmed down. His internal strength calmed down and wasn't crazily boiling like water. It was totally boiling just now. When the dust dissipated, Zhou Zhongmao scratched his head and smiled. "Cousin, I am okay. Are you okay?" Lin Fan was stunned. "I am okay too. So the one who is okay should be..." He didn't finish. He looked towards Chun Daoyun, who knew what happened to old Master Chun. He should... Maybe he was still alive. At that moment, Chun Daoyun stood there and maintained his posture. His hands pressed down and his eyes were wide open. He didn't move at all, and who knew whether or not he was still breathing. Suddenly, pong! Maybe it was because the wind was too strong. Old Master Chun was too thin and weak. His body leaned forwards, and with a pong, he fell face first onto the ground. Lin Fan shouted a few times and saw that there was no reaction. He didn't see clearly how his cousin attacked just now. Who knew how much damage it caused to old Master Chun? On the contrary, cracks appeared on the ground with old Master Chun at the center. It sunk down. The hole wasn't deep, but it was a palm deep. Lin Fan knelt down and grabbed old Master Chen's hair. He pulled a few times, but there was no reaction. He patted his face, but there was still no reaction. "Dead." Lin Fan pointed at the corpse and said. Zhou Zhongmao replied, "In dead. Put on." The leader knelt on the ground and buried his head. Tears flowed. He finally took revenge. "Thank you." He thanked them. He knew that if not for Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao, he wouldn't have been able to kill Chun Daoyun. He held his blade and slowly walked to Chun Daoyun's side. He raised his blade in kacha. He directly sliced off Chun Daoyun's head. Ha ha ha! He held Chun Daoyun's head and laughed in an unrestrained manner like he was venting the rage in his heart. He didn't say much to Lin Fan. He just walked into the distance. "Oi, where are you going? Do you still want your saber?" Lin Fan shouted. After chopping off the head, he had to bring the knife along. This was a tool that he used to make a living. He didn't want it. The leader didn't reply, still laughing loudly as he left. "That's too casual. They're leaving just like that." Lin Fan shook his head. The scene was a little bloody. The corpses on the scene were either split into two halves or had their heads removed. Old Master Chun died a relatively dignified death. Lin Fan squatted there and fumbled around sneakily. "Cousin, let's go. This place is quite scary." Zhou Zhou said, "Oh my God." Hearing these words from his cousin's mouth, it was really too horrifying. Who was the one who created such a terrifying scene? Did he not have any idea? He admitted he had overestimated his opponent's strength and split him into two halves with a single slash. But it wasn't on purpose, so it didn't count. Wait, let's see what he has on him. Lin Fan reached into Chun Daoyun's clothes and touched something. A jade pendant. He remembered it. It should be on the guy who met Chun Daoyun a while ago. Who knew that it would be on old Master Chun? It seemed like it was useful. Maybe it was some sort of proof. And he flipped another thing. It was a piece of leather paper. It was a little old, but when he touched it, it felt cold. He opened it and took a look. There were many words and pictures recorded inside. The pictures were of people with different postures. Little boy God Dipper technique. So old Master Chun was used to keeping secret techniques on him. Maybe old Master Chun personally cultivated it. He roughly looked at it. There were a total of 12 grades, and it required a virgin body to cultivate. Only when one cultivated to grade 8 could one break the rules. Thinking about it, it made sense. Old Master Chun wasn't young, but his son was so young. It seemed like he risked his life at that time. He touched it. Touching corpses felt good. There was a mysterious feeling, and one would never know what they would find. As expected, there were still gains. He touched a lot of silver, around 10,000, after which there was nothing else. He had touched everything clean. Cousin, let's go. Lin Fan brought his cousin and retreated. Just leave the corpse like that. If he buried it, who would know that old Master Chun was dead? He wanted to see how the Chun family would react when they found out that old Master Chun was dead. Very quickly, there was no one here. There were only 4 corpses there. Of course, there was also a horse that stopped there innocently. It opened its eyes wide, looking really innocent, and didn't complain at all. Like it was saying, what happened? Why didn't anyone whip him? He wasn't used to it. He wanted to run under the sun. Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao directly returned to Marshall Path Mountain. After doing such a huge thing, it wasn't suitable for him to head out. It was safer to stay on the mountain. Cousin, this cultivation technique is still okay. It isn't that good. After Zhou Zhongmao looked at the little boy God Dipper technique, he wasn't interested. Compared to the martial arts that he cultivated, it was still far from it. To Zhou Zhongmao, the difference in realm wasn't huge. The main reason was that he had broken through to Martial Path Grade 9 and was still at Initial Realm. If he slowly grasped it, he would be able to cross 2 small realms to kill this person. Moreover, it wouldn't be too tiring. When Lin Fan heard his cousin say that he wasn't interested in this cultivation technique anymore. So it was just that. At that moment, Zhou Zhongmao thought about something. Cousin, your cultivation is already so strong, but I noticed that your combat awareness isn't good enough. Why don't I train with you? When cousin used the mixed energy broken jade hand, after hitting him, he shouldn't have continued to tangle with him. He shouldn't have been hit by that palm, but because his combat awareness wasn't good, he was hit. Okay, I will train when I am free. Lin Fan's thoughts were slowly changing. This wasn't Yu City, and his father's wings couldn't protect him. When he faced some things, strength was the most reliable. How good? He wasn't willing to cultivate at the start. Who knew when old Master Chin's corpse would be found? Damn, there was something he didn't think about. Old Master Chin's head was taken away by the leader. So how would people confirm that he was old Master Chin? He didn't think about it at that time. If he thought about it, he would have left a note. Forget it. It was too late to say anything. He just hoped that the person who found the corpse would be able to tell that it was old Master Chun from his build and clothing. The sun set and dust covered. Wolf Brigade beside the cliff. The leader had built tombstones for all the brothers, a total of 148. At the side of the cliff, there were 4 tombstones. Second brother, third brother, fourth brother, fifth brother. In front of the tombstones was Chun Daoyun's head. Brothers, I am back. All of you risked your lives to let me live, and I didn't disappoint you. All of you didn't die for nothing. I have taken revenge. Big Brother brought Chun Daoyun's head back to worship all of you. The leader's voice was really hoarse. He looked at the tombstones one by one, and his expression was one of disappointment. He missed his brothers. Fourth brother, you asked me if I wanted you to be a bandit in the next life. Big brother definitely wanted all of you. If not, then who? But the next life is too far away. 18 years later, I will be old and can't bring all of you. Now, I will accompany all of you and bring all of you to continue being bandits. The leader picked up the wine and gulped it down. He then tossed the wine jar to the side and took out a small bottle from his chest. On the small bottle was written, poison. It was simple and clear, but it was really threatening. This was the true poison out of all the poisons. He got up and opened the cap. I have nothing to worry about in this life. That is enough. Brothers, your big brother is here. The last sentence, I'm coming, was shouted out. He raised his head and drank the entire bottle. Ha ha. The leader raised his head and laughed. Instantly, blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, but he was still smiling. Colors slowly appeared in his eyes. He saw it. He saw all the brothers waving at him. His ears buzzed, and there was a voice. Big brother, we are waiting for you. Come quickly, we just robbed this good wine. Big brother, this girl is so cute. Let's make her your wife. The leader's mouth was covered in blood, and his lips moved, like he was saying, your big brother has given up on lust. Then the world spun, and everything turned white. He fell into darkness. Bah, I have never seen such a stubborn person. July 28th, morning. On this day, Jiang City was in an uproar. Someone came back with a carriage in the wee hours of the morning. Before entering the city, he shouted in fear. Old Master Chun is dead. Old Master Chun was killed in the wilderness. When the guards heard that, they were terrified. Who dared to curse Old Master Chun like that after drinking some piss? They didn't want to live and wanted to drag them down. However, when they saw the 4 incomplete corpses, the guards were stunned. They noticed with the light. The clothes of the 4 corpses were really familiar. They looked at their faces. The 3 of them were Old Master Chun's personal guards. They would never separate from Old Master Chun. Now that the 3 of them were dead, then wasn't the other headless corpse? Damn. The guards immediately fled in panic. No one dared to bring the corpse to Chun family. They didn't want to live. Even if they didn't kill him, if Chun family found out, they would be so furious that they would pull out their blades and slash. In the morning, all the people in Jiang City found out about the news. Everyone was horrified. Who did it? This was like a hole in the sky. Some kids cried out loud. Grandpa Chun was dead. The kind and friendly Grandpa Chun who got rid of evil was dead. In the end, it was the commoners who were brainwashed by Old Master Chun who pulled the carriage to Chun Manor. When Chun Shengyao learned about this, he nearly fainted. He pulled out his blade and was about to kill all those people who spread rumors. Li Tsong stopped him. He cried. Young master couldn't kill them. If he did, he would be finished. To kill civilians in broad daylight, the Chun family's reputation in Rivertown would be completely tarnished in the future. Chun Shengyao was furious. Damn, he really wanted to kill those people who spread rumors. How could his father die? However, when he came outside and saw the headless corpse, his body shuddered. His eyes rolled, and he fainted just like that, before he was able to say anything. P.S. Thank you, Xiang Shou, book friend 20190130132031090, Xiang Shou, the 2 elders' rewards. P.S. It ended. It felt better to update separately. It seemed like there would be many more chapters. Today there were 5 chapters, close to 16,000 words. Please subscribe. Chapter 128. When the news spread back. When the corpse was sent back. Darkness covered every part of Chun family. The servants were terrified and uneasy. They discussed quietly in a remote area. Was the Chun family going to be finished? Or did the Chun family provoke someone they shouldn't have? If they didn't leave, would they be buried with the Chun family? Such thoughts spread like wildfire. The servants even had the urge to run, but they didn't dare to run. They were Chun family's property, and if they ran, they would die. The Chun family manager's face was dark and sunken. He held his blade and guarded at the door. He stared at those servants. If they dared to run, they would die. Old Master's death was a huge blow to him. Chen family's business couldn't be lost just like that. The blade in his hand was already dyed in blood. Just now, there was a servant who spoke nonsense, and when he heard it from behind, he immediately removed his head, warning all of the servants that if anyone dared to speak nonsense again, they would suffer the same fate as him. Within the room, Li Tsong pinched young master's philtrum. "Wake up, young master, you can't faint. Chun family needed you to lead. If you fainted like that, you wouldn't be able to solve anything. Instead, it would make things more complicated." They had gone to invite Miracle Doctor but they hadn't expected that Miracle Doctor wouldn't be around. All the doctors in the city seemed to have disappeared overnight. When they learned that Chan Shengyao fainted at the door because of old Master Chen's death, they knew that things weren't good. Someone would definitely invite them to wake him up. But no one dared to. It was too dangerous. With Chun family young master's violent personality, if they woke him up, he might be killed with one blade. They hadn't lived long enough and didn't dare to take the risk. "Young master, wake up, wake up." Chun Xingyao's philtrum turned red. Li Tsong used a lot of strength. He didn't believe that old master would die. However, he had no choice. The corpse was right there, so how could he make up a reason to lie to him? Suddenly, Chun Shengyao shuddered and slowly opened his eyes. "Li Tsong, my father died?" Chun Shengyao asked. "Young master, old master really died." Li Tsong squeezed out tears. As the Chun family teacher, how could he not be sad? Following old master gave him meat to eat, but following young master, he would be played to death. "Pa!" Li Tsong was stunned by the slap. "What happened? Why did you hit me for no reason? I didn't say anything wrong. Although I'm a coach, I still have my dignity. Please give me some dignity." Chun Xingyao could not accept such a cruel reality and muttered to himself, "Impossible. I must be dreaming. This is all a dream." Li Tsong covered his face, looking aggrieved. "Young master, this is not a dream." He roared in his heart. This really wasn't a dream. "Pa!" Chun Shengyao slapped her again. "Does it hurt?" Li Tsong's eyes turned red. He was not angry. He felt really wronged. "It hurts, young master, it hurts a lot." Li Tsong felt wronged. The young master asked if it was painful. Could it be that he wanted to know if this was a dream? But why did he hit me? Wouldn't it be better to hit yourself? Could it be that as a servant, he really had no status at all? Li Tsong was very sad. He was loyal and devoted to the Chun family, and he was also loyal and devoted to the young master, but the one who suffered every time was him. So this really wasn't a dream. Chun Xingyao's eyes were dull, and his hands were powerless. Li Tsong stood aside silently. He really didn't dare to speak. Fear. He was really afraid of the moody young master who often vented his anger on him. He dissed in his heart. Damn, whether or not it was a dream, did he have to experiment like this? Chun Shengyao muttered. What kind of person did my father offend? Why didn't he tell me before? If he told me, I would have a way to deal with it. For some reason, Chan Shengyao started to worry whether or not he would be dragged down by his father. Li Tsong wanted to tell young master that now wasn't the time to think about such things. Old master's corpse wasn't cold yet, so it was best to quickly arrange the funeral and let old master rest in peace. However, he didn't dare to say it. He would be beaten if he didn't speak. If he said too much, he would still be beaten. It was better not to say it. Dong dong. The manager of the Chin family came. Young master, the old master isn't here anymore. You're now the backbone of the Chun family. You have to come up with a way to calm the hearts of the people. Some of the servants tried to escape, but I killed them all. Chun Xingyao's face was cold. If any more people want to run, kill them all. Yes. The Chun family manager replied. Chun Shengyao said, inform them to arrange the funeral. Since things had already happened, there was no turning back. Chun family depended on him from now on. For some reason, Chan Shengyao felt that the burden on his body was slightly heavier. His father's death naturally made him sad, but for some reason, there was a bit of joy in the sadness. No, how could he have such an attitude? He was really sad now. Huang family. When Huang Boren heard the news, he was stunned. Oh my God, old Master Chen died? Was he joking with him? No matter what, he didn't dare to believe that the cunning Chen Daoyun was actually dead. He died in such a random way. Who did it? Huang Boren was in deep thought. Marshall Path Mountain? Impossible, that was impossible. Even if he had high hopes for Marshall Path Mountain, he didn't believe that they had such ability. He knew old Master Chen's strength. Although he looked old, that was just a facade. Min monitored Chun family's actions. He didn't understand, so he wasn't prepared to think much about it. He used the most useless method, which was to monitor Chun family's actions to see what was going on. He was thinking whether or not Chun Daoyun was faking his death to escape and plan something in the dark. Anyways, the matter of old Master Chun being killed had totally spread out. The commoners who worked on Marshall Path Mountain were all talking about it. To them, it was just gossip. They were talking about things that everyone knew. Liang Yongqi wasn't interested in it all. So what if he died? Anyway, he wasn't the one who died, so it had nothing to do with him. Zhang Tianshan showed a slightly weird expression. He knew that old Master Chen wasn't a good person. He had a short interaction with him when Marshall Path Mountain opened. He could clearly tell anyone that he was a bad person. Old Master Chen is dead. Yuan Tianshu squatted there and knocked the bricks. When he heard what the commoners said, he remembered it all in his heart. There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. What he was thinking about wasn't so simple. It was much more complicated than everyone else. Based on his guesses, this was probably done by Lin Fan. If not, how could there be such a coincidence? Chun family and Lin Fan had conflicts, and then Wolf Brigade came to harass them. Then, old Master Chen died just like that. Connecting the cause and effect between them, one would be able to find a terrifying reason. There was no need to say more. It was definitely done by Lin Fan. Terrifying. It was best if normal people didn't offend such a calculated personality. At that moment, he saw Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao pass this place and walk into the distance. He didn't ask, just staring at their expressions. There was something, they were definitely hiding something. Brother Yuan, what are you thinking about? Liang Yongqi saw that Yuan Tianshu was stunned once more. This time he didn't underestimate him. He suddenly noticed that Yuan Tianshu was something. Yuan Tianshu said calmly, "Do you know who killed old Master Chen?" "I know, but I can't tell you." "Damn." Liang Yongqi rolled his eyes. "If you can't tell me, then why are you telling me all this? So boring." This person was so boring. However, he was really curious. Who did it? However, he knew that Yuan Tianshu definitely wouldn't tell him. Behind Marshall Path Mountain, Zhou Zhongmao and Cousin trained. "Cousin, I am here." When he found out that Cousin was so strong, he was really happy. When he was sparring with his cousin, he told his cousin what he should pay attention to when fighting and how he could make himself in the safest state during the fight. Zhou Zhongmao noticed that Cousin's comprehension of each martial art was really deep. He cultivated to the legendary returning to true realm. That was a really terrifying level. Even for him, he had only cultivated 2 martial arts to the return to simplicity realm. It wasn't that he didn't want to cultivate, but to cultivate to returning to true realm, he didn't just need to train hard. He needed to comprehend the martial path. One day, Cousin will become an expert standing at the peak of the martial path. Zhou Zhongmao thought to himself. Cousin's understanding of the martial path was much stronger than his. Sparring with him till night, Zhou Zhongmao's forehead was covered in sweat. This nonstop sparring was really tiring. Even if he felt like he could crazily fight on, he felt like his internal strength couldn't keep up. But on the other hand, his cousin was fine. It was like he wasn't tired at all. Lin Fan was really calm and didn't feel tired at all. Cousin had trained with him till now, which gave him a huge comprehension of fighting. Stamina and internal strength were endless and would never stop. The small support system was still okay. It was a little amazing. July 29th. This was the second day of old Master Chen's death. Jiang City was cleared out. Everyone in the Chun Manor had dark and sunken expressions. Sad music spread out. Many commoners gathered and stood outside the Chun Manor to cry and mourn for old Master Chun. They were sad. Old Master Chun was such a good person, but he actually died just like that. Chun Shengyao couldn't take the crying outside. What were the commoners crying for? Were they here to laugh at him? He wanted to pull out his blade and chop those commoners to death. However, Li Tsong stopped him. "Young master, stop messing around. They were here to send Old Master off, and now that you went out to chop them, that wasn't right. Within the morning hall, the coffin was placed there. Old Master Chin's head was gone, and he couldn't find it at the location. In the end, he had no choice but to use a vase as his head, and then he covered it with a cloth. It was okay to look at his face, but it was okay to look at his body. The rich merchants in the city came to pay their respects. A fat man, who was a rich merchant in Jiang City, pulled Chun Xingyao's hand. His voice was choked up, emotions surged out. "Kid, you, Hayes." Words were tough to express. He could only wipe away his tears. He really wanted to say, "My dear nephew, I've known your father for decades, and your father is a bastard who tricked me so badly. But now that he's dead, I'm really happy and don't know what to say." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.